We're waving at another car that's coming up on the convoy. I'm sitting a little further back in the Humvee, and the metal grate is sitting on the back. So I pop this flare. The fucker hits the top of that, comes back in, lights me on fire. All this shit's on fire. We're screaming. It lights the fucking 240 bullets on fire. It lights the small rockets, which are like, high explosive. I'm jumping and rolling off the hood. Just caught myself on fire with a flare that burned 3,000, degrees.
Yeah, those things are cooking. Nick, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm really pumped about this episode for a few reasons. One, you obviously served your country in a crazy time. You did the push through Fallujah with 3.5, which the Dark Horse is notorious. I mean, it's they swing a hammer in the Marine Corps when it comes to names and battalions, things like that. So I really want to dive into, because you guys fucked up a lot of shit.
Yeah, we did.
In Iraq,
yeah.
It's kind of your guys' glory of the new generation of the Dark Horse. So I want to dive into a lot of the military times, and then obviously a lot of the shit that you guys dealt with. It probably wasn't the easiest transition coming back to the civilian world.
Right.
And then I want to talk about the success that you've had with starting your own business, Custom Antler Designs.
Yep.
And where that's going and how that's helped you along the way. So those are, I guess, our two main focus points. And obviously you got a job, you're working for the fire department out of Washington, doing a lot of cool things there too. So I guess let's just dive right into it in old true fashion of wild chaos. But before we get started here, we're going to send you home with a fresh sourdough loaf. I think they said that one's the girls baked you up the RPG, which is our roasted garlic, Parmesan, rosemary. All of it's from, obviously not the Parmesan, but the rosemary and garlic are from the garden. So it's all our own ingredients. So the girls are going to hook you up because you got a flight home and you get to munch on some delicious bread.
Thank you.
So dude, let's dive right into it. Where are you from?
From Spokane, Washington. I grew up there, went to high school there. I was not a good student in high school.
Okay.
I was not really a very good kid.
How so?
In general, just causing trouble, ruckus, drinking a lot, smoking a lot of weed.
Okay.
Doing whatever I wanted to do. My plan was to go in the military.
Okay. Which will straighten you out real quick.
It'll straighten you out real quick, but the thing that I didn't think about then is like what after the military, what is it in the military, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just going to go in the military. But I actually was raised by my mom and dad, Juan and Dave, and they actually did a good job overall, for how stubborn and disobedient I was. They've been married, they're still married, and we still hang out pretty often.
Awesome.
And they took good care of me, but I just made a lot of poor choices. And I like to say that I was the only kid that went to Gonzaga eventually in my career,
Okay.
in my lifetime, that doubled his high school GPA. So I had a 1.6 cumulative GPA in high school. And I like to share that because I think it's important that we see that, things are different as you grow up in life.
Sure.
Right? So kind of a vulnerable point, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's who I was and the decisions that I was making based on that.
Young and dumb. I mean, we all go through those phases. I mean, we get full of piss and vinegar at a certain age. I think it's a biological thing that happens in us. My dad, we've had this conversation now in life. Like, both my parents are still together and grew up great home. Not any like money wise, we grew up pretty poor and getting by, but I mean, my parents provided everything they could. But then there's just like that switch in me that one day I just started fighting the world.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
My dad says, he's like, there was one day you just woke up and just chose violence until I joined the Marine Corps, and
all the way through that.
yeah, then it's promoted, So, it's more accepted there. It's the way of life. But that is where I'm so torn on the military, especially everything that we're finding out now in life and
Right.
and all this stuff. But it's one of those things that I think if you are a kid and you need a direction, the military is probably one of the greatest options besides the blue collar work, like becoming like a lineman or a welder along those lines. But yeah, if you need your kids to get locked in. And
I agree 100%. 100%. I think the military did everything that I needed in life.
For sure.
You know, and as we'll talk about, it gave me a lot of good experience. It gave me a lot of bad experience, but it gave me a lot of life experience.
100%.
And I think that's really what I needed at that point in my life. So.
100%. Okay, so Spokane kid.
Spokane kid.
Kind of got a little bit of a rough childhood. What's going to boot camp like? I mean, so you went from no structure to extreme structure overnight.
Yeah, so, you know, I signed up for the DEP or whatever they called it,
Okay.
you know, when I was 17 and a half. And so when I turned 18, then you sign your contract, and then I knew I was going in the military. So I was literally not even graduated yet, knew I was going in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So I shipped off that November, went off to boot camp, somewhere in that order. And it was eye-opening. You know, I was very good at listening, which I think was to my benefit.
For sure.
But you know, Marine Corps boot camp's 13 weeks. And then straight into that, we went straight into School of Infantry because I was an infantryman in the Marine Corps.
So let me ask you this. Why did you want to join the Marine Corps?
Go kill shit.
Really?
Yep, 100%.
You were set, huh?
I was set, man. I was going to go, just like you said, that violence piece. Like, I'm going to go kill shit. And, you know, my dad always likes to say, oh, you did it because you wanted the college benefits. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that was not where my mind was at when I was 17. Like, I barely graduated high school.
Yeah.
Literally, that's not where my mind was at.
You would have joined the Army for that.
Probably, or the Navy. But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't remember anything other than the violent aspect of, like, I want to go kill shit.
And what year was this?
This would have been 2003.
Okay. So
So
9/11 happened.
OIF, just getting kicked off.
Yep.
You know, joining during a time of war. I remember, you know, 9/11, I was sitting in a classroom in high school. I think I was a sophomore that year. Was that 01? And, you know, I don't know. I think I already knew I was going to the military.
Yeah.
That was always my plan.
Yeah. Some guys, they just know. It's in their blood. I dabbled with it. Then once I realized like college was not going to be my thing, that's when I was like, okay, this is my way out of here.
What are my options, right? What are my
Exactly.
options? And I thought that was the best one.
Yeah.
So there was not a long line of military service in my family. There was a little bit of Navy with one of my grandpas and
Okay.
an uncle that was a Vietnam vet. And that Vietnam vet actually tried to talk me out of the Marine Corps.
Really?
And I didn't understand it at the time, but I do now, right? So it was like, hey, man, you should go in the Coast Guard and run one of these cutters, and we'll go do a tour. And he set up a tour and everything. He's like, you do not want to go in the infantry. But I never understood what the big picture was and like what it was that he was talking about. And it was obviously the PTSD. He ended up being a Hell's Angel, and, you know, he straightened out his life, and he lived off, you know, his service connection disability for a lot of years, and, you know, just didn't do a whole lot. He ended up eventually passing, but, you know, I looked up to that guy thinking back to that point that he was trying to steer me away from the PTSD, not away from the military,
For sure.
but the PTSD.
He knew. I mean, look what the Vietnam guys went through. They came back to nothing. They came back to
nothing.
a
Yeah.
country that hated them.
Yeah.
So he saw, you know, but I mean, at least he wasn't the anti-military side. He was just trying to have you get a cushier job. So, I mean,
He knew where I was
but
going.
as a 17-year-old kid, we don't process it like that. And especially if you have it in your veins that you just want to go kill shit and full of piss and vinegar. It's no matter what anybody says, you're like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly where I was. So then we end up going through boot camp. I did well in boot camp. I wasn't anything extraordinary. Just did as I was told. And, you know, I think I was a PFC by then. You know, they give you the PFC for getting people recruited or whatever.
Oh, really?
An E2. I don't know if they had that when you were in, but when you were signing up, if you were getting other people to come in with you, they give you a promotion to E2 by the time you get out of boot camp. So by the time I got out of boot camp, I was a PFC.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay. What year did you go to boot camp? What time?
It had been December 03 is when I joined.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the beginning of 04. So
Got it.
then I went through School of Infantry. So think about this.
You were literally a month. I went January of 04.
Okay, but think about that. Yes. I was a month ahead of you.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't realize we were that close, but here's the other thing. So I joined in December of 03.
Mm-hmm.
By November of 04, that was the push. So we'll get to that. But
So what was
you know,
boot camp like? I mean, you're was it you just fell right into line or what?
I felt like I did.
Okay.
I was the kid that got, my dad would send deer jerky and elk jerky in the package, and the drill instructor would be like, you just chew on a little of this and then I'm eating the fucking rest of this,
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of military stuff that I kind of have suppressed for, good reason, I guess. My brain's done that. But so I don't remember a lot of too much ins and outs. But I just kind of got through it, man. Survived it, writing letters and talking to my parents and getting smoked all the time. And
So then off to School of Infantry. So you're going from San Diego up to Pendleton.
Correct. Yep. So then we went straight to Pendleton to School of Infantry. And that was kind of like when you really get to start playing with the cool stuff, the grenades and the saws and all the other stuff. And just learn how to be an infantryman. Again, I feel like at that point in my life, I was already drinking alcohol, even though I wasn't 21.
Of course.
Yeah, like any good Marine.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was abusing alcohol probably because that's what you do in the Corps, or
Sure.
that's what I did at least. And then, just playing commando, I was really good, and I feel like this is where I started to strive at things, but I was really good at stuff outdoors because I grew up in the outdoors.
Yep.
So like the land nav course, man, I was like the first one done with that thing, and they're like, holy smack, and I was like, I don't know. I just did what I knew how to do, I guess. Yeah. And I'm no expert with a lot of things, but the outdoor stuff I just really thrived at. And that's part of the Marine Corps,
For sure. Especially for you guys.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it. How long is SOI for you guys?
I want to say it was like two and a half months.
And that is just learning everything Grunt 101.
Yeah. So there's ITB and MTB, right? Infantry Training Battalion was what we were with. And so, everybody goes to MCT.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Yep. So you went there and you were there for what, like a month maybe?
Yeah.
So they just push you through the infantry side and then you go on to your MOS school.
Yep.
And then we just stick around for another month and a half and play war.
Got it.
It wasn't really as serious as it was when you got to the fleet, the fleet Marine Force, like when you get to your unit. But as far as the experiences that I had, there was a lot of good training.
For sure.
Learning.
Well, and things are spinning up too. So did you realize how serious it was at this point? That like the wars, obviously they're doing the push into Iraq. That's all happened. Was the tempo, did you realize like the tempo was a higher tempo, or was everything pretty relaxed for you guys?
No, I feel like the tempo was real high. No matter what we did, we knew that we were going to war. Like that was the end goal, right?
Sure.
Remember, but I do think that the tempo was pretty gnarly. And I don't think that a lot of our instructors had already been over yet because we're still early. So we're really, and so I don't think that there was that, but when I got to the fleet, my unit had been already OIF 1.
Okay. So let's talk about this. So as a boot Marine, you're just trash to anybody, but then you're dealing with the fresh guys that are coming back from the initial push, which all have a chip on their shoulder. They're the new war dog generation, and now they came back to a bunch of boots waiting for them in the barracks. What was that like?
Yeah, so I think that overall they supported us, but in the end they were hard, man. They were hard,
Sure.
and this was I don't know what the Marine Corps. People say it's soft nowadays, but I'm sure it's still hard in some regards. But I would say that back then, man, it was like the serious deal. Like you get smoked, you'd go on gas mask runs, these guys had already been to war, and you don't know what that entails really, other than they shot a lot of shit when they were over there. But OIF 1 was kind of the free reign of Iraq. It's where the initial push, initial invasion. So they're going through and they're clearing city to city and they're shooting everything, and the rules of engagement are real open. And so they just have a lot of ability to do stuff that, as the wars progressed, got tightened and tightened and tightened.
For sure.
Even by my second deployment, it was just a different world, man. Talking to JAG, the lawyers and all that. So, it was good. So I ended up with this a badass fire team leader and a badass squad leader.
Okay.
My squad leader had not deployed yet. But he was already a sergeant, and he'd already been through the sergeant's course and a bunch of other stuff. He'd been to Quantico, and he was just a badass. He actually just retired from the military as a CW05 Marine gunner.
Damn, good for him.
I'm bringing him up to Idaho for an elk hunt this year. So
that's cool.
Just a bad mofo. So he was actually my platoon, or my squad leader, and then he was my platoon sergeant, my second deployment. So I got a long history with the guy's name was Carmody. And he was just a badass.
It's cool when you get to spend like time with guys, like build that relationship and deploy.
Yep. And
then you come back, and a lot of you know, because to the winds you go, a lot of guys just disappear and you never really deal with them and see them again. But if you have a chunk of dudes, I was fortunate enough, like our whole platoon, we got back and just rolled right into another platoon. A few guys went to different units, but so a lot of us spent a lot of years together building that bond.
You have that camaraderie.
Oh.
Yeah, you have that camaraderie. So we start with this fire team leader, and he's a big tattooed guy, man. He's probably 280, tattooed up, you know, but he had tats on his neck and all the way down to his, you know, part of his hand. And he'd been to OIF1, and this guy was hard, man.
He's salty.
He's salty, and he saw it, man.
Yeah.
And I think he was a corporal by then, but so we got to experience a lot in the fleet. You know, we get there and it's just wind up, man. It's tempo full on. We did the Mojave Desert. We did all the workups. What were they even, man? I don't even again, I blanked out a lot of that.
Mojave Viper was 29 palms. That was a month.
We did 30 days of that in the gnarliest heat ever. You know, we did there was a Air Force base that they closed down.
March Air Force Base.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think it had a bunch of asbestos or something cool, you know, something exciting like that. Yeah. We did a couple weeks there doing training. We did, you know, in Mount, I guess to explain what that is it's like urban training, right?
Yeah.
House to house stuff. And so they're trying to ramp this up, and they're trying to make it the most realistic possible. So they brought us down to a film studio in San Diego called the Stu Seagal Studio. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
And they had real actors playing war, and you literally had to evac people. They had fake blood. It was a whole deal, man.
Really?
And so I remember that. I remember the ranges that we'd go to, just tens of thousands of rounds, man. Like one of them was, God, what was it? I wish I knew the guy's name, but it was based on this professional shooter, but they literally brought in these pallets of ammo. And you would shoot like mount style, you know, moving and, you know, knee and all the other stuff. But literally we'd go through pallets of ammo.
Are you talking just M16s, or are you shooting saws and everything else?
M16 specifically for this shoot.
Okay.
But literally there'd be so many casings on the ground, you'd just be stepping in piles of casings. And then at the end of the day, what do you got to do? You got to pick them all up. Police call that shit up.
That's where they don't, they don't tell you that in the fine print. Like, you want to shoot machine guns, son? Sign here. And you're like, yeah, I want to shoot machine guns. And you're like, okay, I get to shoot for one day on the range. And you spend 2 days police calling the brass, and then you spend a week cleaning that son of a bitch. And you're just like, this sucks. Like, okay, I'm done with that.
Tens of thousands of rounds, man. And then, you know, all the other workup stuff. I remember just thousands of rounds in saws, and, you know, claymore mine training, and you know, explosives training, and rocket launchers, you know, AT-4s, just an extreme amount of stuff thrown at us. And so I do feel like the vibe was real there, you know, like we knew we were getting into the shit. Like they wouldn't be throwing this $10 million and, you know, shit at you to not be going into it. So there was like, what is that? If you did the math, it's like December to February, March, April. I hit the fleet in May, June, July, August, September. I think we were deployed by about September, man. So, you know, it was a quick turnaround, dude. It was a quick turnaround. And I don't remember the exact dates, but I know I was already there for at least a month before the push. So the push was beginning of November.
Okay.
So
yeah, you were
November 04. So I was already there for all of October, maybe part of September.
How was the fleet as a boot Marine hitting the fleet? I mean, were there a lot of seniors? Because there's only really, I guess, probably 1 or 2 waves ahead of you then. So it wasn't like you're going to a battalion full of like salt dogs are coming back? I mean, is there?
No, there'd only been one wave. So
Yeah,
OIF
okay.
1,
Yeah.
we were OIF 2.
Got it.
That is literally the second deployment. So we were the second wave going in. We relieved. It was interesting because I think we relieved even a guard unit or something.
Okay.
But anyway, so we went in and we doing route security with that was the first introduction is the route security piece. So we go in from the fleet straight overseas. We flew on an airplane.
Commercial?
Which I think is interesting. Yeah, it's a commercial airplane.
Okay.
So people always think that, they're taking boats or whatever, ships to get overseas. That's not true. Like they literally rented out a giant commercial airplane, put us all in there with our gear, and flew us to Iraq. We flew to Kuwait, and then we flew into Iraq.
With your packs, on the plane?
I don't even remember, but I just remember having my gun and just having too much shit, and I don't even remember, man. I really don't.
All a blur.
It's all a blur, but you just remember. Like I'm not a small dude. You aren't either. You get it. Like an airplane seat's only so big anyway.
And they don't care.
Oh, they don't give a shit. And you're a freaking PFC.
Shut up. Get in the back.
Shut up and get in the back.
Yeah.
And I do remember kind of being in the back.
Exactly. So you guys, where did you land?
Kuwait.
Okay, so you flew what, Kuwaiti Naval Base? Where'd you guys go into?
I don't even remember, man.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of details that you're like, well, he should know that. Well,
no,
this
I'm the
shit's
same
a blur,
way.
man.
I'm the same way.
It's a blur. There's a blur in my life, and it's probably because I've suppressed some of that. But we're going to talk about some good shit today. But
yeah,
stuff that I haven't talked about in a long time. I think we flew into Kuwait, and I remember being in a big tent. And then they put us on I think it was a C-130 at that point.
Yep.
And it was kind of open. Yep. And then they flew us in at dark. And that's the first realization. Hey man, I'm here. I'm in a war zone.
Okay.
They're flying you in at night.
Yeah. Did you guys do a combat landing?
I don't even remember, but we did do some form of convoy to get from there to our next stop.
Okay.
In Kuwait, we took a bus, and then when we got to Iraq, we did kind of like a combat convoy, and that was my first introduction to other than training convoys, like an actual convoy. I remember just getting out; it was just hotter than piss,
Oh yeah.
It had to have been like September, October, in the desert. I don't know, 100, 110 or whatever it is with all your gear.
Kuwait being the hottest. Only way you can describe Kuwait was like a blow dryer in your face. It was so bright. I remember it just hurt your eyes every time you walked outside, and it was so hot. You're just like, what the fuck? Like you go in a porta-john, take a shit, you come out drenched.
Yeah. Just remember that when you're thinking about your first world problems over here, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Exactly.
Going in the porta-john, coming out sweating,
Yeah.
That's a third world problem,
When you open a porta-john, you're like, it feels good. It's 120 outside. You're like, or you're taking a shit. You got the door held open with your foot, just the air, get some flow
just
in there.
Smoking yourself.
Yeah, that's the shit that that's the stuff that's ingrained in you forever.
Or other reasons you went in the porta-john too.
Exactly.
Like you come out sweating.
Yeah, everybody's got the little DVD player.
Getting shit done.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys get to Kuwait, and then you just immediately load up in a convoy, and off you go?
I don't remember. No, I think we took the C-130. I think we were in Kuwait for a day, and then we took C-130s into Iraq.
Okay.
At one of it had to have been like TQ or one of the big bases.
Yeah. Okay.
They're flying in at this point. They're flying in, and then we took a convoy. So then we get to the Euphrates River, and I don't remember the name of the route, but we're right up against Fallujah right off the bat. Our AO, our area of operations, is route security up against the Euphrates River and Fallujah on one side. So, my introduction to Iraq, was roadside bombs really weren't a thing yet.
Yeah.
They were starting to be, and we'll talk about that. But it was like, you're holding security, trying to make sure convoys make it through.
Okay.
They're breaking in slowly, basically. I remember one of my first experiences. I have a few good first experiences, but listen, within a month, the amount of times that you almost died was significant, right? And like I joke about it now because that's all you can do.
Yeah.
And like military guys laugh at it.
Uh-huh.
But in the civilian world, you would think like, oh, you almost died. No, like you almost died every day. You almost died every day multiple times. So there was this, we're sitting on this OP, like an observation post, just watching the highway. And that was what we were doing. And I'm like sitting there with my rifle, and we see this motorcycle pull up on the side of the highway at this little hut. And we're like, oh, that's suspicious. You know, they got these roadside bombs they're trying to start figuring out. And this guy gets off the motorcycle and leaves it. And we're like, okay, well, that's obviously probably a bomb, right? And so the commander like does something, and one of the Iraqi civilians wants to see this thing, or wants to take this thing. And the commander's like, the commander at the time, platoon commander's like, go ahead, you know, go do it. So anyway, so we're watching this all unfold, and I don't know what's going on in the background. Like somebody told somebody to go get it. So this guy goes up, freaking moves that thing, boom, kaboom. Innocent.
Really?
I don't know whether the guy was innocent or the guy was, actually like up to no good, but the guy was trying to steal the motorcycle. And it wasn't his motorcycle, and detonated, and it was a V-bed. It was my first, introduction to a V-bed, and it was instantaneous. Like I'm on the ground like a week, and I'm like, well, shit, now there's, blood and guts all over. And, we go out there and there's a leg in the road, and that was the opening to the deployment.
Really? So that's how you started.
Dude, that was just like the very beginning of like
all hell.
The craziest deployment.
I don't think people understand what we're about to dive into, because I was fortunate enough. I spent some time with a good buddy of mine that did the push, and there's nothing like what you guys went through. I mean, it was, besides pretty much fist fighting the Iraqis, which I'm sure happened, that's like, it was face to face, door to door, all day, every day. And so, yeah, so you have no idea what's coming.
No, we don't. We don't have a clue. All we know is that we're route security, and again, at this point, I'm a PFC, man. I just do as I'm told. I carry my freaking saw. I had a squad automatic weapon, an M249 machine gun.
Oh God.
200 round drum on the bastard. Had my night vision for that entire deployment was a 3-power press against your face, against your saw, to clear shit. A 3-power scope. That was my night vision. No pistol, so I had an open bolt weapon. They didn't have enough pistols to go around.
Yep.
Who needs a pistol anyway when you got an open bolt weapon?
Yep.
And so, that was really like, I don't know. I think I was already in the game. Like I knew what I was in for, and I was there to do a job. And I think at that point you start to realize, the people around you are as important, right? Your team is the most important piece of the deployment. Like I don't think at the time I realized that we're not going to save the world, but like I understood that like my team was the most important piece. Like they got my back, I got theirs. So we were hard motherfuckers, man. Again, I told you I had that squad leader, and then I had that tatted up team leader. Sil was the guy's name. And, he kind of fell off the earth after the Marine Corps, and he's still, I don't know where he is. Yeah. I'd love to talk to him, but, he was a hard fucker, but he always had you in mind.
Okay. Which makes a good leader.
So I felt like I had a good leadership going into this.
Okay.
Guys in the squad were obviously all locked on. They were pretty hard dudes, man. But overall, I still keep in contact with a couple of them. But we were a pretty tight knit group.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Gosh, the stories just start flowing as I think through stuff that I haven't thought about in a long time.
Okay, so you guys see this dude on a motorcycle get blown up.
V-bed, dude's dead, legs laying in the middle of the road.
That's your introduction to Iraq. And welcome so you did mobile security for a month. What's happening in that first month to break you guys in?
Well, a lot of crazy shit, really. A lot of death and destruction.
How so?
I don't probably want to go into detail on that story on like how I watched it, but like we watched an innocent family die, and it was kind of our fault, kind of like the rules of engagement. Like at that point in the rules of engagement, what we were doing is we were waving at people, we were shouting, we were shooting a flare at their at their car coming towards our trucks, because at that point we didn't know what an IED was. And so, and then you'd shoot ground, grill, grape. And by ground, grill, grape, I mean ground, engine block, face.
Yep.
Literally kill them. And so that was your rules of engagement. That was what you were supposed to be doing. So we're trying to follow this. And as a freaking young Marine, man, listen to this. I was 18 years old, like I was a freaking kid,
orders,
dude.
Yeah.
I was a freaking kid just doing what I was told. And so, I probably have, I don't know if I have regret, but I was a very good Marine. I listened well. I did exactly what I was told to do when I was told to do it. And sometimes shit got fucked up. That's just the reality. So, in this one circumstance, we did some ground. We yelled, we shouted. I was standing on a 50 cal, which I wasn't really trained to use other than pull the goddamn trigger. A 50 cal machine gun. And we yelled, so you're going to go yell, then you're going to shoot the flare, then you're going to shoot him with a rifle first, not the 50 cal.
Yep.
And so it's going to go ground, grill, grape. Well, he got ground, he got grill. He went to grape. Fucking shot this dude in the head. And I haven't shot the big gun yet because it's like right at that moment when I should be shooting it, car swerves right into the canal. So long story short, we pulled the dude out, took him to the hospital. He had a bullet hole in his head, right? He was still alive, but he had a bullet hole, 5.56.
Yep. And
then we go back to secure the area because the rest of our squad was still there when we got back. And they pull out 3 women, 2 children, and an infant. And so your introduction is just death, dude. Just nasty, nasty death. And it was sad. I think it was sad at that moment. It's still sad. Like, it probably makes me sadder now because, like, then I was in kill mode,
Sure.
One of the jokes in the Marine Corps is like, hey, let's kill babies. Yeah, get some. But, in that reality of the situation, it was like, hey, babies just died. Literally.
Yeah,
literally.
Not so cool.
No, not so cool, man. And so at that point, still just hard Marines, man.
It's such a different mindset. Like, I look at the shit we used to joke and the shit we were doing. And I'm like,
yeah,
like, God, it's just, but this is how we're bred. And that's what separates, I think, us from all the other branches is that we're so indoctrinated of this Urok kill mentality because we're Marines, and that's how it should be.
Yep.
The world needs, this country needs Marines for that particular reason, because it's just, it's who we are. But at the same time, it's like, okay, here we are 20 years later, and it's like, fuck, like, it's not so cool anymore. We all have families, and so I get it for sure.
Yeah. And I think you nailed it on the head, man. It's just like, it's a different world from here to then. And I think we need the Marines, man. We need the Marines. If we want to be the strongest fighting force, or, this country wants to be the strongest fighting force, it doesn't happen without the Marines, man.
No.
And you need Marines in that mindset to be able to kill one that needs to kill.
Yep.
And we did. And we did that on the enemy too. But, that story was obviously civilians. And
it happened. And then you look back at it afterward and you're like, fuck, these people are just dumb. They don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you have all the signs in the world doesn't mean they don't even know how to read.
Yeah, exactly.
They're blowing through checkpoints, and then you're seeing a van getting mowed down. And you're like, what are you supposed to do? How do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, it could be because when we were there, V-bids were a big deal. So it's like you weren't letting a car within
vehicle bombs. Yeah. Yeah.
So you never know. You don't know.
So hitting on the IED point. So improvised explosive device it was just starting to be a thing. And the only thing we knew is that they put this shit on the side of the road in garbage. So what do you think the best way to go look for an IED is? Well, you go fucking walk and you kick the garbage to see if there's a bomb in it.
Oh, God.
So literally our first IED sweep was us walking the edge, seeing if we could find anything. And we didn't that one, thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully they weren't very good at it then. And it was way early on, but to progress from that to them hitting us every other day with an IED, my second deployment, it's just a different ball game. So, in that couple year span, they just got really good at what they did, and they
have nothing but time.
Nothing but time. Yeah.
That's why,
or nothing to lose too.
Exactly. I've had people ask, like, how are they so good at it? I'm like, imagine prisoners that can figure out the most innovative shit. You've got flushing things down toilets, and dudes are fishing out of their toilet. Passing notes. I'm like, that's Iraq. They have nothing to do besides just figure shit out, and they got good at it.
They got good, man.
Okay, so a month in, you guys have finished up your patrol.
So we're almost to, So every time we're driving by to get supplies at the camp, at the big camp, Camp Fallujah, we're getting shot at by fucking Fallujah.
Okay.
Shit's coming, hitting us. Fucking people are dying. An IED hit, and there was this kid, and I wish I remembered his name, but he got meritoriously promoted to Lance Corporal in SOI, School of Infantry.
Yeah.
He was a bad motherfucker, dude. Anderson, I think, was the kid's name. Just really locked on. They had him sitting up front, higher on a Humvee. IED hit, boom, killed his ass. You know, and
Was that
so
your first killed over there?
that was within the battalion.
Okay.
And so I think it was the first KIA, but you know, that was the reality of, hey man, fucking, you could die here, dude. This is real, you know? So that first month was the break-in. There was one other time. So that same month, you know, like I said, I almost died so many times, and I just have stories for days about almost dying. Well, we're waving at another, you know, car that's coming up on the convoy. We're shouting. I'm sitting a little further back in the Humvee, and the metal grate is sitting on the back. It's called a high back.
Yeah.
So I pop this flare. The fucker hits the top of that, comes back in. So it lights me on fire. It lights the fucking 240 bullets on fire. It lights the small rockets, which are like, you know, high explosive. It lights an AT-4. So all this shit's on fire. All the while, we're screaming. They stop the Humvee. I'm jumping and rolling off the hood, and my buddy's fucking launching rockets. My buddy Casey's launching fucking rockets off the side of the fucking Humvee. So I don't die. No one dies. Thank God.
Yeah.
Nothing blew up. Just caught myself on fire with a flare that burned 3,000, you know, degrees.
Yeah, those things are cooking.
So they got me a new pair of camis somehow. They got me a new pair of boots, and then it was like one of the only ballistic Kevlar blankets we had at the time.
Okay.
They dumped it by the pond. Well, the platoon that was there was supposed to dump it in the pond. Well, they never did. So long story short, I could have gotten demoted and been the biggest shitbag in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow they made up a story that something else happened, and they didn't drop any names, and it was just a whole shenanigan. So like right off the bat, crazy shit's happening. I'm fucking 18 years old, trying to do what I can do, fucking lighting Humvees on fire, and just total chaos, man. Total chaos.
That's war.
It's war, man. But, you know, let's not light the high explosive fucking small rockets on fire and be throwing them off the side of the Humvee. So
for sure.
It's probably not what you want to do.
No, not at all.
I'd been in the military like, what, 10 months, 12 months by then?
And here you are. That's what a lot of people I don't think realize in that initial OAF 1, 2, and 3. There were dudes that were graduating boot camp, and within
shipped right over, man.
Months or weeks, we're straight to Iraq.
Shipped right over.
And it's like we're just children at this time. And so it's crazy to think back, like how did we even function half the time and getting anything done with the leadership, the chaos. Nobody knows what the hell's going on ever, but somehow it always worked.
Well, I look back now and God had a plan.
For sure.
That's not the way I felt back then.
No. None of us. I don't think any of us did.
I think I was just out to kill shit and protect my buddies. But yeah, see it now. God obviously had a plan.
That he does. So as it escalated and time went on, you guys are right outside of Fallujah the whole entire time. So you're seeing, what's the atmosphere in Fallujah at this point? Because Fallujah hasn't been pushed yet, correct?
Correct.
So correct me if I'm wrong, during this time, a lot of the insurgents through not just Iraq, you had Syria, you have other people coming, flooding into Iraq to fight Fallujah. They were in Fallujah, Ramadi. All the major cities are now hubs for, what did we call them then? The Mujahideen, I think.
Mujahideen,
was
insurgents.
there's so many different names.
They weren't really the Taliban at that point.
No.
But you know, it was just like the bad guys, the fucking shitheads, man.
So they're building up. This whole thing
They're building up Fallujah. They're digging in. They're fucking caching weapons.
Everything.
They're fortifying shit. And every time we're driving by there, we're getting fucking pop shots. I remember I think it was Carmody's fucking Humvee. A fucking bullet went through the three panes of glass and was like lodged in there right by his head, you know. And then the AT-4 or the God, what's their rockets? The fucking
RPGs.
RPG fucking hit the side of the door and didn't go off, but it dented the door right there, right where he's sitting. Like it dented it like, 4 or 5 inches. Like just like almost dying all the time.
Yeah.
And it's at this point, it's just like, I still think we're in that tempo of working up, but we're not to that point of like, hey, we could die right this second.
Okay.
Like, so they put us at this lake. I think it was Bahria, right next to Fallujah.
Okay.
Camp Fallujah was the big one, but they put us in this shitty little place. And, basically they're prepping us to go into this Fallujah, this push. Like there's something big coming, but you don't know what it is. And to be honest with you, I don't remember a lot of the in-between, but I could tell you that I remember when the general came out and said,
Oh, he gave a speech?
you're all going to war and you're not all coming home.
Really?
100%, dude. Just the hair on the back of my neck standing
Yeah,
up.
I got goosebumps.
It legitimate was there, man. It was the thing like they see in the fucking movies, man. It happened.
So they got the battalion together and gave a speech?
Yeah, they got the battalion together and gave a speech.
Never
man.
a good sign.
And so we knew, and it's already, we already lost people. People have already died. We've only been here weeks,
Yeah.
And so that was leading up to the push. So I kind of remember coming in on tracks, and them dumping us, it was hours and hours and hours, maybe even a day sitting in that track. I don't remember. They dumped us off and like we were right outside the city and we slept in the rain. It rained that night.
Really?
In the desert. The only reason I remember is because I woke up. We only had one poncho cover for all of us, for 3 of us, because of my fire team. We were really short back then. So there wasn't like 20 people in a squad. There was literally like 8 of us.
Okay.
8 plus a doc, I think. So there was 3 of us, and I woke up in the morning and we slept on this big pile of boulders. It was just horrible. And, and now I can sleep through anything. Imagine that.
For sure.
My gun was orange because it was all fucking rusted, so I had to give it a little grease down.
Okay.
And then we start pushing on foot and, then it starts to be a normal occurrence that there's bombs and explosions and, small arms fire and gunfights and all that. And that's a constant. And so I can tell you that was a constant for the next, 6 months of my life, probably.
Really?
Like, I think during the push, obviously, was the biggest, 30 days or whatever. I think it was 26 days or something. You could read the history book if you want the exacts, but I just remember living it, It was just a constant of action, always. There was always some form of action. And so nothing really, like, you're not surprised because you're already in it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we push into the first couple houses. I slept on the roof. Go ahead.
When you're talking the push, did you guys get online outside of the city or did you have your own? Because I hear so many different stories where you got the city, because we did it too, but not Fallujah, but literally lined up and you're just walking as like a battalion to push through a city. What was it like for you guys? It's
kind of like gritting, like gritting on a wildfire would be similar, but basically you had sectors, basically this was your sector to clear this section and make sure that there's nothing and make sure that nothing crosses this way because then they'd be behind us all.
Got it.
And so it was basically 4 battalions pushing through. I think it was 2 Marine Corps and two Army.
Okay.
And a shit ton of support. So people will say they were in Fallujah and that's legit. They were in Fallujah. But there was 1 million people there, there was a lot of support aspects and a lot of other things. So, but I was in one of the line companies that was actually pushing on a sector. So I, again, was a PFC then. So I didn't have the who, the know of anything, and still I talked to my old squad leader and, old buddy now, and he's like, oh, you don't remember that? Well, I wasn't at that level in life, man. I was an 18-year-old with a saw gun. Like I was just following directions and shooting shit. That was what I was doing. Yeah. So I remember the very first night, gunfights erupt, all that shit. And then there was a quiet in the lull and it would always slow down at night when it get pitch black. Right. And I remember sitting on the roof and me and my buddy were just shivering, just cuddling, trying to stay warm.
It's freezing.
And like cuddling is not anything abnormal when you were doing, like traveling from one place to another, sitting on post and stuff, like you had to cuddle to stay warm. Like realistic.
I got in a sleeping bag with a buddy of mine because I thought we were going to freeze to death.
Yeah.
It was that cold. That's one thing that nobody will ever experience unless you're in the Marine Corps during these eras is cuddling with other dudes just to stay warm. I mean, I remember holding a buddy on a rooftop because we were supposed to be on watch. It was so cold. We just filled sandbags all night to try to stay warm and to build just enough of a berm to like get us out of the wind. And I mean, you'd sit there and hold the dude just to try to stay warm. And like you explain it now, people are like, "Oh, that's the gayest shit I've ever heard." Survival.
Well, you didn't have the QU freaking gear either. You know, you had the shittiest gear. And literally, I don't even remember having long johns, you know, like.
Hell no, we didn't have long johns.
Dude, what you had is what you had.
We were in flight suits were even thinner than camis. I mean, dude, it was miserable. Yeah,
so I remember having, you know, all my gear, the 1,200 rounds or whatever we had as our freaking, you know, carry for our saw. And then the breech gear because it had those big steel gates. So I remember cuddling with my buddy up on this roof. It was just eerie as shit. Didn't get any sleep. I don't even think I slept yet because, you know, the PFCs are now up on watch, right? Yep. And so it was a rotation of this never sleep thing. And so I remember kind of phasing into these houses and we clear house after house after house. And I remember the first bite in that shit got crazy was we came up to this house and this house, it's right by I'd call them like the lily pads. Okay. Like there's a story I can tell you later about like where Chris Kyle was there later, but like this section of Fallujah, I almost died more times than I can literally count. Okay. More times in a day, more times in a week, more times in a month, like just craziness. I remember we were shooting at some guys that were dug in at the house, and the Marine Corps has Apaches, right? They had Apache or the Cobras. Cobras. So the Cobras are flying overhead, and they're literally shooting rockets like a video game, and the fucking casings from the coax guns are hitting us. Oh, yeah. And so we're in a gunfight with helicopters flying over, blowing and shooting.
Giant brass falling on you.
Giant brass. Well, and the brass was like 240 or something. Like coax, like a machine gun.
Okay. And
then the rockets are shooting. So like everything you see in that movie that's like, you know, Hollywooded up, like, dude, I don't think I've ever played a video game since, but you know, the reality was we were in one.
Damn. So you guys are in a firefight and you have brass raining down on you from the helicopters.
Real shit, man.
That's how you know you're in the shit.
You're in the shit, man. And I don't know that my mentality changed a lot for the next 30 days. Like it was literally just combat, man. It was shit when you shit, eat when you eat, drink when you drink, fight.
Get a nap.
Clear houses, try not to die.
For 30 days straight.
For how many ever days the push was. I think it was 26 or something, but yeah. And so, you know, being a saw gunner, you're not always in the very front.
Okay.
They don't want to put an open bolt weapon because there's room for air when that bolt slams forward that you could misfire or jam. But wasn't the case. It was a mix of everybody.
Okay.
It was you get in the house with whoever, and then it was always you helping clear everything. It didn't fucking matter.
So you're clearing houses with your 240.
Oh yeah, with my M249 saw.
Okay.
So the difference between a 240 and this is for them to understand. 240s like the machine gunners were kind of back behind us. They're big, heavier guns. They're shooting 7.62, and they're really suppressing the fire while we make the moves. And then the saws are where you carry them in the actual line company, in the actual infantry unit, and you can push in. So
that's a 5.56.
That's 5.56. So I'm literally clearing houses with a 5.56. And then I have this fucking 3-power scope. So as it got dark, I have a 3-power scope that I have to suppress by lifting up my 30-pound fucking saw and be able to see through it, man. It was just not ideal.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Marine Corps. For sure.
Fucking ain't got no money, man. They didn't have enough 9mm to go around. Like, what is this? We didn't have enough 9mm. Should have just borrowed some from the streets.
Marine Corps.
So clearing houses, it was, it started as a, breach the gate with C4. It started with breach the gate with a Humvee. If there was a Humvee close by, we'd pull them up and breach the gate. We'd use bulldozers sometimes. We'd use
tanks, tracks.
We'd use
mortars.
Kicking them in, breaking them down. Big steel gates that go into the houses, and then steel doors. Has a steel fucking gate.
Steel gate.
So then what happened is we figured out we can go from top to bottom. So we would literally push the wall over, jump from fucking house to house, and clear it from the top down.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, dude, it was super effective.
Really?
Super effective.
Really?
So that's what we did a lot of.
Because all those dudes were built, they were dug into a lot of these houses. Like, I've heard stories of dudes kicking in doors and they had like machine guns bunkered in, sandbagged in, pointed right at the front door. So now you guys are coming in from the top. The
problem is they probably hear us in some of the circumstances, but, in the gunfights that we did get into, and they would go through and they would bomb and artillery. So they bomb with planes and then they'd artillery the section that we'd go through.
Okay.
So the day prior, it was just getting fucking hammered, right?
Okay.
And so there was a lot of close air support, man. I remember it was like right in that same place that I almost died a million times by the Lilies. They called in a bomb, and I don't know, it was 1,000 or 2,000 pound bomb on the fucking house next door on the guys that were shooting at us. So there's bullets whizzing by your head, literally whizzing, like the full whistle. Like that was the real thing.
Yep.
And then the bomb goes off, and this house is so fucked up from us shooting at it and fucking with the Cobras and all the other stuff prior that the fucking wall's collapsing on us.
The house that you're in?
Yes. So it was literally that collateral. And so like, I think about this story and I really haven't thought about it in a long time, but I relate to like my TBI, my traumatic brain injury stuff to this type of situation. Because you're in a full combat mode, you're shooting and killing, and then you have these explosions and it's so much so that walls are collapsing on you, losing consciousness, not losing consciousness. I don't fucking know, man. Listen, we were just killing shit. Like it was what it was. It was the real deal, man. And so that was kind of like the top of the pyramid with, death and destruction, man. And it was just, it was a lot.
How dug in, like how often are you going into a house with an insurgent in it?
I don't know about how often, but I'd tell you that there was insurgents in houses. Some would give up, some would shoot back, and then we'd call in air support or we'd shoot them, try to shoot them, The platoon had one casualty during the push, a KIA.
Okay.
We had a lot of minor shit, from fucking, light bullet wounds but my platoon, and I'm talking my platoon specific, because in the battalion we lost fucking 40.
Really?
30 or 40. It was a lot, man. It was a lot. 20, 30, 40. I don't know. It was a lot of
killed
people.
Or just wounded?
Killed. A lot of killed people, man. A lot of people died. Like one of the platoons lost like 7 in one day. Yeah, it was sad. And so you're hearing these things as you're pushing through the city, like, hey, Kilo lost this, India lost this. I was Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. I remember one I went in and I had my open bolt weapon. There I am, first one through the fucking gate. And all of a sudden this guy puts his fucking hands up, dude. And I didn't shoot him. And all of a sudden, pop, 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 whistling right by my head. Green tip from my fucking other Marine behind me. I'm like, what the fuck was that? So we ended up getting this guy, and there was another guy in the back, and they had a weapons cache, but we caught him off guard, so they just put their hands up. It's like, why the fuck didn't you kill him? I was like, because he had fucking hands up, dude. What the fuck am I going to do? Shoot the guy for fucking having his hands up?
Yeah.
So it was just like that intense, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of just chaos. You don't understand what's going to happen or why it's going to happen. And I almost died that day.
How?
Well, lots of different reasons, but like that one, circumstantially, those bullets were right next to my head, literally.
Sure.
So the green tip to, the green on green could have happened instantaneously. It was a pop, 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 pop. It wasn't shooting at the guy. It was like freaking out type thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. And I won't mention the guy's name, and I don't blame him now. Like I look back and I'm like, fuck, man, we were all scared, to some extent.
Kids.
We're just kids, man. I think that on that topic of like scared though, I don't think you process it that way. You didn't process it as scared. You process it as kill shit. I'm not scared. I'm going to do this. I do remember one piece looking back. I was patrolling through some and fucking gunshots going off, bombs going off, and it was night and I couldn't see shit. And I remember just grabbing the back of my team leader, that big fucking tattooed dude. He's like, "What the fuck you doing?" I was like, "Dude, I can't see fucking shit, man. Scared fucking shitless back here, and I'm in the back, you know, trying to protect the back. Fucking, I don't know what the fuck." Cats meowing, dogs barking.
Dogs trying to attack you.
Fuck, dude. Yeah. The dogs and the cats were a riot over there. We shot a lot of those, but
yeah, a lot of dogs.
A lot of dogs.
A lot of dogs lost their lives in every city.
Yeah, a lot of cats too. They weren't our nice ones. They were some mangy things, but
oh yeah.
So house to house, man.
I don't think people will ever grasp how intense you guys had it during those times, because I mean, one, the physical just draining on you of going in homes. You're not just like going in a house, you're searching, you're tearing everything apart, upstairs, downstairs, on the roof, in and out, going through, and then it's the next house, and then it's the next house, and you're doing that from sun up to sundown. Then whenever were you guys extracting every day, or were you taking over a house and sleeping in it?
No, we just stayed, man. We just stayed.
So then you're providing security all night after
you didn't
15 hours of fighting your ass off.
You didn't sleep. Like, you didn't sleep. I don't remember sleeping in Fallujah much. I was a boot, you know, and so like my second deployment, I kind of like have a little regret because I didn't do a lot of post because I was in charge.
Yeah.
But it was because like that first one was so drastic. I was like,
oh, for sure.
Fuck that, man. I ain't ever doing fucking post again.
That's perks.
Yeah, perks of fucking getting promoted, baby.
Yeah, you don't like it, pick up.
Fuck.
Did you guys lose any guys out of your platoon?
Yes. Victor Liu.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How was that?
So, I won't mention the other guy's name, but one of my other buddies, I still keep in contact with him. He's a little rough around the edges still. I think it's just what he's going to be forever. Yeah. They went into a room, and my buddy had the saw, and Lou had an M16. They got in right away. Lou got sprayed with 11 shots.
Really?
7 or 11. You know, some went through his sappy plates, some didn't, you know. So instantaneously, the guy grabs Lou, pulls him out, throws a grenade in there. Boom, it blows up. He goes in there, empties his 200-round drum. And that was the end of it. The Lou was already dead when they started treating him.
Okay. But
the doc didn't tell them that. He was just treating him. But he was dead. He was dead. You know, he didn't make it. So, yeah. So that was the first, like, and that wasn't that far in. I don't remember the exact date, but
pretty recent though. I mean, when you guys started?
You know, I think it was a few days in. A few days.
So that hits hard. Was he tight with you guys? I mean, obviously.
He was tighter with his squad.
Okay.
So he was in a different squad than me. So that, you know, the platoons broke down, let's say 30 people, then it's 3 squads of 10, essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a little less than that, really. It was only like 26 guys. So it was a pretty tight-knit group. Yeah, so it hit us all in a different way. Some guys, he'd actually been to Iraq once, Lou had, with the first deployment.
Yeah.
And so, like, he'd already been salted with a lot of these other guys. So he was actually the fire team leader going in that day.
Okay. So that hits a platoon pretty hard, especially when a senior that has experience gets taken out.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's like, hey, one of your own. I again feel like I was in that war mode that, you know, you just turn off all emotion.
100%.
You know, that one that took 15 years to get back? Yeah. I turned that sucker off in war, man. It took 15 years to get it back, but
if you're lucky.
100%. Yeah, I agree. 100% turned off. I don't think that I shed a tear during the push or in that deployment at all. And that's saying something, you know, like I'm sitting here damn near shedding a tear, you know, trying not to be try not to let the emotional side of the feeling, take over.
But at the same time, man, like, that was some of the wildest shit we've ever done. I mean, since Vietnam.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, door to door. I remember watching, and I couldn't even imagine what you guys were having to do during the. You hear, oh, dude, he's a Fallujah Marine, or that dude did the push of Fallujah, and I think a lot of it's like, oh, cool, like that's. I don't even think you've even scratched the surface yet on the shit that's was even going down, and how violent in the death. I mean, I have buddies that have some videos, and I mean, dude, there was just bodies literally everywhere,
rotting corpses everywhere. Now, they weren't all Marines,
no,
but there was literally civilians and insurgents, and there's body parts laying places. There's hands and feet. There's, rotting corpses with freaking fly larvae and flies all over.
Dogs chewing on people. Cats eating people.
I remember sitting down one day, holding security on something as we moved to the next house or whatever. Thousands of flies. And it's not that flies bug me. Like, I'm going to be in Alaska here soon, and the mosquitoes and bugs are going to be all over you, and that's going to bug you. But it's not going to bug you like knowing that they were on a corpse next to you.
And they're on the corner of your mouth now.
And they're now on the corner of your mouth. Just absolute, just filthy disgust.
So you're not even processing this. This is just your straight war kill mode.
Yeah.
So you guys are just stepping over bodies daily.
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal. 100%. Yeah.
Did it never affect you seeing civilians at that time?
Not at that time. No, there was, we laugh about it.
For sure.
Really.
Oh, for sure.
It was all funny. Because if you can't cry, you laugh. Yeah. Really, that's an emotional response. So, sure. Marines laugh at it. And so, yeah.
Different times.
Long time ago.
I just, the Fallujah, man, like wild. I think it's one of the craziest battles of that whole entire war, and you're smack dab on the tip of the spear of it.
Yeah, we were. So we're pushing the city day after day. Remember, there wasn't a lot of food. One of my buddies' balls chafed. I'll make him listen to this podcast, but his balls chafed so bad they had to pull him to the back.
Really?
Literally. Because we weren't showering, Yeah. I think there was a stint in one of my deployments that I went like 42 days without a shower.
I believe it.
Just was what it was, man. Chafe, rash. It didn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Didn't matter. Suck it up. So we get through the initial push, and I'm still alive. And they want us to back clear a section.
Oh, gosh.
That supposedly someone had missed a section, and then some insurgents had snuck back through. So we go back and we start another clearing section. And, while we were pushing, the goal off the books was to make it so that they didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, who? And I didn't really think through that at that point in my life. It was like, don't make them come back. Okay, we'll destroy everything, burn it down, blow it up, whatever. It doesn't matter. But whose house was I blowing up? Was I blowing up the insurgent's house or the Fallujah Iraqi that was actually pushed out of the city prior to the push?
Yeah.
Right? Because they pushed some of the civilians out. They tried to push some of the civilians out before the push so that there wasn't, that much casualty in that. And a lot of them left just because it was so ridden with insurgents too.
Yep.
And so, we destroyed everything, man. I look back and, like just pushing over the kerosene and lighting it on fire. Like it didn't matter. Nothing mattered. The rules of engagement were like shoot if you're getting shot at or if they have a gun. Right. But it was really, really lax. Like our goal wasn't to drop a gun ever, but like the mentality was if they had a weapon of any kind, then you could kill them. And there was no question about it. There was no question at that point.
Yeah. Military age male with weapon, shovel, digging material, motorcycle. I think that was all shoot on sight.
And that changed a lot as the deployments went on.
For sure.
And I think that a lot of people could relate to this, that, that was the hardest part of being in war, because we experienced firsthand what the lax ones were. And then as we went on, you know, every shooting we're getting into, we're talking to lawyers and other things, you know, for the next deployment. I could talk a little about that, but it was just a different beast.
What was the scariest part of Fallujah?
That night when it was dark and the dogs were barking and gunfights going off.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know that there was a scared bone because you weren't processing it like that.
Yeah.
You know, you were in combat mode. I honestly, to this day, do not remember a day that I was actually scared.
Really?
Per se, rather than just in combat mode, man. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know how you relate that to like the civilian world. Like, it's not that I'm a tough guy. I am a tough guy, but I'm not saying that I don't get scared of shit, man. Yeah. You know? It's just like, that's not what my mindset was. I was there to do a job and fucking just kill shit, man.
You saying that, it's such a true statement though, because you hear a lot of these guys, and I've had a lot of conversations with vets that going to combat was almost like peaceful for them because they were in that mindset and they knew the job and they had to get it done and they had that same outlook. But then when they come back to the States, like having a family terrified them. Yeah. Having somebody dependent on them, terrifying. Yeah. And they were like, just send me back. Like, that's where they belonged.
That's easy, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, war was easy to a lot of vets. Like, they wanted to be there. That's where they thrived because they didn't have that switch that made them fear, made them think like, oh, I have this at home. But then when they come to the States, having to get a job is terrifying.
It's because they were trained so fucking well.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
They did a damn good job of training me to be a Marine. They did a damn horrible job training me to be a civilian. Because they didn't they taught me how to be a Marine.
Yeah. They don't undo it.
They don't undo it. There's no 4 years of undoing what they just did. Yeah. And that's really, you know, I like to talk about my struggle because it was real and people can relate to it. But
for sure,
man, you know, it's been 20 years and I still take VA meds, man. Listen, I'm dry. I don't drink. There's reasons for that, right?
Yeah.
You know, stuff that I experienced in my life have, you know, compounded into this today.
For sure.
So we back pushed. Not near as much action, but still the same tempo. So as this deployment is rolling on, we're holding the city empty and we're looking for weapon caches. So we're back clearing stuff. We're breaking shit, blowing shit up. We're looking for munitions and then we're marking it with a triangle if there's explosives. I don't know if that was normal. You'd find shit, you know, IEDs rigged up in houses and, you know, still scary shit.
Did you guys run into any booby traps?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Oh.
Like some of that. There was booby traps and there was all sorts of shit.
Really? Like what?
Dude, I don't even remember all of them, but I do remember us running into a few of them with like IEDs or guns pointed or whatever. We didn't want to wait on EOD one day, and this one we had to wait for them for whatever reason. I don't know whether it was earlier or later, but it was like a Russian hand grenade. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how we just said, fuck it. One of us are going to throw it. Hope it's not a fucking IED. And so we popped the pin and it clicked as soon as you popped the pin.
Oh God.
It made a clicking noise or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, then we threw it and then it didn't go off. And so we had to call EOD anyway, but yeah, just scared the shit out of you.
Leave it to the Marines to find a Russian
don't
grenade.
Give a fuck.
Let's just
we weren't going to wait. They used to collect up all the munitions and there'd be just piles and piles of guns, and incendiary grenades really didn't melt them enough to make them unusable. So they'd put all these big weapons caches into these buildings with all these explosives. And then I don't remember if they put the guns in there, but they put all the explosives in one building and then they'd clear it. And then they'd say, okay, you guys hold security on this side, fucking open your mouth and plug your ears. And kaboom, the whole fucking 2 city blocks would be gone, man. And you're like the 3rd block over, you know what I mean? So like all these concussions or whatever you want to call them. Just getting rocked, dude. Just getting rocked still.
My buddy that did Fallujah, he said that they would find caches and they would radio like, yo, who's got C4? And everybody would come running, and he's like, they would just level that house, and like every house that touched that house would all just be leveled, and they would over like 2 RPGs they'd find. They were just leveling everything. He said everything got C4 slapped to it.
It literally didn't matter.
Really?
It did not matter, man. So
would have been fun at the time.
oh, it was badass, dude. That's why I probably get such a rush out of hunting, because I'm like, nothing in this world has given me the rush like hunting has that the military did.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm not even getting what I got there, but you know, the problem was that you were on a 24-hour adrenaline rush and you never shut it off. But so many years later, I get a call, and this is relating back to Fallujah. We'd been holding this area against the Euphrates River, and it was right up against the Blackwater Bridge. All that's right there in that section, right next to that section of that place that I almost died 1 million times. I get a call from a Marine buddy, and he says, "Hey, send me that picture of Chris Kyle's gun." I'm like, "Who the fuck's Chris Kyle?" And he says, "He's that fucking SEAL that was attached to us, him and his buddy." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about." And so I'm still not recognizing who Chris Kyle is at this point.
Yeah.
So I sent him the picture of the rifle, and it was an M16. It was like an AR-10, so it was a 7.62 platform.
Yep.
And then they had their sniper rifles too. And so one of the pictures is like half of a SEAL and then the rifle. And I don't know whether that's Chris sitting here or it's Chris's rifle, but either way, Chris is right there, Chris Kyle. So in the city, we were holding security at this. We were at this palace, and then we had all these little houses because we just lived in people's houses. We just took over their shit in their kitchen sink, and did whatever the fuck we wanted to do. Literally. Like there was no filter because it didn't fucking matter.
And looking back at it now, looking at it then, every house was an insurgent's house.
Correct.
There was no...
It was destroy it. It was destroy the city so that no one wanted to come back.
Yeah. I mean, and when you tell Marines to destroy something, like they're going to go above and beyond just out of the pure, just sadistic side of us being Marines.
And no one cared, man. No one cared, sadly. So...
Yeah.
So we ended up holding security on an OP that Chris Kyle and our sniper team was holding and shooting insurgents out of, because we had an insurgent stronghold coming out of the marsh, filtering weapons into the city.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's in the book, if I remember right. But basically, like, that OP was, we were doing security patrols all around, in and around that. I remember sleeping out on this. We were watching this boat one night because we thought it was, you know, and we had the snipers in the background somewhere and all this other shit. But yeah, so I met Chris Kyle at one point in my life.
Yeah.
He was just a Navy SEAL, and I remember this, and just a Navy SEAL, man, they're bad motherfuckers, don't get me wrong. I remember this one point in the conversation, and this is the only part of the whole conversation that I remember, is, "Man, I wish I could be a Marine. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want." And that was something humbling, and that just something that I remembered. And I don't remember a lot from this period, man. There's a lot of blank spots. And for good reason, right? But, yeah, sadly, Chris Kyle,
Yep.
you know, is no longer with us, but his legacy lives on. And Thanksgiving dinner. So we're still in the city. We're patrolling, doing security and combat patrols. Again, I was just a saw gunner. I think I got promoted to Lance Corporal somewhere along the way. They tell us to come get Thanksgiving. Well, as a Lance Corporal or PFC, you don't ever sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring chow from one of the big chow halls, because all we're eating is MREs. We're surviving on MREs for months now.
Yep.
You don't get any good food. And so I don't know whether they thought it was going to be a treat or what, but they ruined me for life for Thanksgiving.
Really? Why?
I can't think of any Thanksgiving that I want to go to, and I relate it back to this moment. They forced us to put on all our gear and go patrol over and go get some Thanksgiving. And there was some fucking general there shaking our hands, telling us to do a good job.
Every time.
Some fucking 2-star.
Yep.
And he's probably a bad motherfucker if I read back in the history book.
But still.
You know. But it was like the point of, like, getting the green weenie again. Like, you hadn't slept, you hadn't showered.
Leave us alone.
Like, I don't want any Thanksgiving fucking dinner. I don't want any of your fucking turkey that's fucking a half mile that way because you want me to go patrol back to get some.
You guys had the patrol to go get Thanksgiving dinner?
Yeah.
They put you guys at...
That's what I remember, and that's how I remember hating Thanksgiving. Like I have this thing where I'm just not into Thanksgiving.
You guys are in the middle toward the tail end of pushing Fallujah.
So the push, when is Thanksgiving's November 20, last Thursday?
25th.
Third Thursday.
Like that, whatever, yeah.
So it had to have just ended.
So you guys just finished the push of Fallujah, and now they're making you patrol to a chow hall to go get Thanksgiving dinner?
Patrol to a
Fob.
This fucking mansion. Same mansion that Chris Kyle was in. Down the road from where I almost died a million times. Right across from the Blackwater Bridge. Like all this is right here, dude.
You were in it.
In it, man.
You brought the Blackwater Bridge up a couple times. What's significant about that?
Well, so on the bridge, so the bridge is where the whole Fallujah thing started. They captured some, and I don't read history, so I'll give you the black and white of the facts. But some Blackwater employees were captured, killed, and hung and burned on that bridge.
Yep.
And so it was significant because it was like a turning point in the war where we're saying that we're gonna smash this enemy, and Fallujah was the hot spot for it. On the bridge, written, it says, "This is for the Blackwater employees that were killed." And then it says, and the history books will show this. You can Google Blackwater Bridge, Fallujah, and it'll show this writing. And at the bottom it says P.S. and it's crossed out now, but it said P.S. fuck you 911, and then the Dark Horse was written on it. And Dark Horse was my unit's call sign, the Dark Horse.
Yeah.
And so that was significant because obviously it was a big part of the reason we went to Fallujah. But
that bridge went into Fallujah.
That bridge went into Fallujah.
So that was the Iraqis making a statement by hanging these contractors.
Yeah.
Like, come and get it. And this
insurgents or whoever they were. Yeah.
Yeah. What did I call them?
You called them Iraqis, but who knows who they were, right? Do we really know who they were?
No.
Yeah. So,
I mean, there was dudes out of Afghan, Syria.
Yeah, exactly.
Pakistan, they were flooding in from. I mean,
they were just going to kill shit.
They just want to kill Americans.
Yeah. So anyway, the significance is that in our kids' history books, it's going to say this is for the Americans that were murdered here from Blackwater Bridge. Okay. And in the fucking end, it says P.S. fuck you 911 Dark Horse. And the Marine Corps is the 911 force of the U.S. So when it's crossed out, you'll know exactly what it says.
That's pretty dope, though.
It's pretty cool. I got a picture on my phone. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
I'll text it to you.
Put
So
that
you got a little permanent copy of it. So we were just another day. I think there was some kids. I remember some positive stuff in there.
Yeah.
I remember. Well, the shitter wasn't positive, but the kids that were there, we gave food to. And so they'd come up, a couple of the village kids, while we were holding security on shit, because people started to filter back in, and we were on the right on the edge of Fallujah.
Okay.
And so we'd give the kids food. I got a picture, I think, of me and my buddy with these kids and no gear on, which is like, the first step in a long time that we haven't had full gear on to even be outside anywhere. And so we were right outside the house with the OP right above us with our gear off.
Yep.
No, what I was joking about the shitter is, I don't know why I thought about this, but that same house that the kids were at, we used to have to shit in, you shit wherever you could, but like when they start putting you into spaces and they keep you there for multiple days, they'd bring you these shit tents and these bags that you'd shit in.
Wag bags?
But the thing was, there was never enough bags, so you had to reuse the bag.
For sure.
So you'd fill that sumbitch up until it was full. And I'm just thinking to myself, no, what? That's nasty, man. Just nasty. Fill that thing up till it hits you in the nuts.
Someone's got to tie it off.
And then someone's got to tie it off and fucking go burn it. You remember burning shit?
Bro, I've talked about it on this podcast so many times. I have burned so much shit. I've spent months of my life stirring shit.
Stirring shit in the barrels with the JP8.
No one understands, bro, how...
I get it.
Only the few. Because I was labeled like the shitty NCO because I was just belligerent and didn't give a fuck about anything. So like I had chops, like I had my beard, like I trimmed it. I didn't even shave. Like I was getting snatched up left and right every time we'd come back.
Working party.
Yeah, and so yeah, I burned a lot of shit. There's pictures. I'll show you these pictures afterward, and I can put them over this. There's pictures of me because, dude, I'll never forget. My gunny ended up getting pinned on a mast iron. He was the biggest piece of shit you've ever met in your life. Just a coward of a man. And I have no problem saying that because I truly feel to this day he still is a piece of shit. But you could tell I had this dude. He's on that list.
One of those.
And he comes in. He's like, "Hey, fucking shitters are full. Take care of them." I'm like, what the fuck? So I would do it just obviously to help my guys out too. And dude, I had to like I lined up I pulled a bunch of pallets apart just to get the plywood or the little strips.
Yep.
And I laid them all flat so then I could push these barrels through the dirt into the burn pit for our trash. And I was just dumping the shit down into because dude, you're there for hours. I mean, it takes 12, 15 hours to burn a barrel of shit.
Yeah.
And so there was one though that I was burning just to make it look like I was doing something. So I would just sit out there and fuck off on my day off. I was burning shit. I already dumped 2 barrels.
That was the easy job, dude.
Skate, bro. I was like, yeah, I'll do this all day. You just stand up, win from it, and you're good.
Yeah.
And so he's like, he comes back out, and keep in mind, he's never gone on a patrol. Never left the house. This dude has sat in the COC with his coffee just yelling at everybody half the deployment. So he comes like, "Where's my shitter? Where's my shitter?" And this one had just finished. You know how the fumes are just...
Yeah.
I was like, "I got one for you, Guns." I slide this in the shitter. Bro, he's in there just coughing and gagging because those fumes are just... I mean, dude, that burn your butthole. That diesel fumes.
That couldn't have been good for us.
No, and I sat there just laughing my ass off, just like getting it, just knowing that he was just miserable. But yeah, I burned a lot of shit. Those wag bags, dude. We were in Egypt doing Operation Bright Star with the Egyptians, and I think the Jordanians. Somebody else was there. But dude, we had a shitter where we had to sit back to back with a dude. And the flies, when you would...
Oh, my God.
The flies would just...
hit you, come up your crotch.
Bro, you just feel them on your nuts. Just
man.
swarm. And they're in your mouth. And you're trying to shit. You're just trying to dodge it. And they're coming... and then we had a little cami netting that was just enough to, like, crawl and walk in. And then you'd sit down and the cami netting was... maybe like 2 foot above your head. So it's like a dome with these, but not a tall dome. So it trapped all these flies.
Oh my God.
So it's not like they're flying and flushing out of there. They're just swarming in there.
Shit and getting on here.
Bro,
gross, dude.
That's the military. That's war. When people you just think you're just hooking and jabbing. It's the little shit like that where you're like, bro, what am I doing with my life? Like, why am I here?
One of the times we went, we only got to go to the big camp like a couple times during that whole deployment. And we went to the big camp and we hadn't shaven or got a haircut. Or maybe we tried to shave and we didn't have a haircut. No, we didn't shave because here's the thing. They said some sergeant major gunny came out and like, "What the fuck, you fucking Marines need to fucking shave your goddamn face and cut your goddamn hair," and fucking just lining you out, right? And you're like, we said, we haven't had a shower in like 30 or 40 days. I don't remember what it was, but it was, 30 or 40 days, literally. Yeah. And he literally just went quiet. And we went in there and we went into that chow hall. He didn't say another word. Like he understood at that point. Like,
okay,
and that never happens. Most of that doesn't happen.
No.
But I would tell you that it was like at that point that like he probably realized that he was in the wrong, that we were just coming off the fucking line from Fallujah. We went in there and just got platters of everything that we could eat.
Yep.
And then we tried to eat, I don't think we ate even a fraction of what we got, but we hadn't had any of that food.
Shrunk.
Yeah. We hadn't had any of that food. So that was kind of a highlight / good old Marine Corps. That's a typical, make sure you shave your face and get your fucking haircut. Well, I haven't had a shower. Why would I get a fucking haircut?
Where?
Yeah.
Where's this gonna happen?
Line
downtown Fallujah? Yeah, you go not keep knife handing me.
Yeah.
And then of course he's standing there in his perfect uniform, perfectly clean,
haircut.
everything's pressed, fresh shave. You're like, yeah, bro. Like we're in 2 different wars right now.
Yeah.
I remember we went back to Al Assad to resupply, and there was I don't know if you probably never. No, you were Fallujah, so you never went to Al Assad. Where we had parked, we called it Tent City. It was kind of like where if you were like the transients coming in and out, if you didn't have like permanent station or permanent time there were these big tents.
Okay.
And then right next to it was a chow hall, like a couple 100 yards up the road. And so we got in, and I grabbed my crewman because they had hua bars, like those apple cinnamon hua bars. And then they had the cinnamon Pop-Tarts. It was just anything besides MREs, you know, and that wouldn't rot or, you know, go bad. So I had an empty grenade box, and I'd carry that to the chow hall. And we would stuff that. We're stuffing pockets. Dude, I'm literally at a buffet, like just pulling piles of shit into this grenade box.
That smart.
And, you know, we lock it up, and my crewman's holding one side because, you know, I have the rope handles.
Yeah.
So he's got one, I got one, and we come walking out of the chow hall, and I got like a beanie on and a gator neck. Like, we're coming back. We're only going to be in Al Asad for like a couple hours. Grab whatever, any supplies, and we're out. So it was literally once we got everything, I'm like, let's go to the chow hall and get this shit. Dude, I got so lifed out. Like, I knew it was coming because as soon as we walked out, there's like 3 sergeant majors standing there, all perfect. And I'm like, just keep walking, just keep walking, just keep walking. I hear, hey, Marine. I was like, don't look, don't look, don't look. And they screamed like 4 or 5 times before we stopped. And this dude chewed my ass. Who the fuck do you think you are coming to my chow hall? Just rips my ass. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, Roger that. Like, what do you want me to say, bro? We're literally leaving. Like, our vehicles are running right now. Like, we're prepped and we're out of here, back on the road to go to bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're chewing my ass because I just want a Pop-Tart. Like, chill, bro. Like, same team.
There's no such thing as that in the Marine Corps. You know, it's
one or the other. There's no
one or the other, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know we talked about it earlier, man, that, you know, one of the reasons we got out was just that negative piece.
Oh God.
That negative piece to the military that's just so rough. At least the Marine Corps, you know. I don't know how it is in other branches, but especially when I was in, man, it was just a rough time to be in. And, you know, at this point I was still committed. So Fallujah.
What was your most memorable part of Fallujah, good or bad? What stands out to you the most?
Probably my second deployment.
Okay. You went back to Fallujah?
So we went back and we were south of Fallujah, but we were right up against the Euphrates and right up against the other side of the Blackwater. So we were literally on the other side of the river from where we were at.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good memories, bad memories. But I'll tell you this one. I haven't told anyone in a long time, but so I was jacking off and and I was in this like little hut thing, and all of a sudden stuff started to explode around me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like sitting there, and all I have is my skivvies, a 17-inch laptop, because I had my laptop, my go-to.
With the hard drive.
With the hard drive. And there was no gun. There was no flak jacket. We were holding security on this dam. I was in charge, or I was supposed to be in charge at least. And freaking, they were walking in these mortars. So they hit them, and they like hit them back and forth. And what'll happen is they'll eventually hit their target of what they're aiming at. There's also small arms going off in the front. For whatever reason, my gunner that was up front in the 240's not shooting at them, but there's a truck and they're launching mortars out of the back of this truck. So I come out in my skivvies and I'm like, bring me my fucking gear. So, you know, at half salute in my skivvies, fucking bombs dropping, gunfire going off, and we deterred the enemy by fire and maneuver. I don't even remember. I think we threw our gear on and chased after them with one of our rapid response teams or whatever we called them back then. But
oh, God.
So I always like to say that I almost died jacking off. So it legitimately was that. So the
fucking Marines, man. That is the most Marine Corps story I've ever heard in a long time.
It's legit, man. It's legit. You can't even make that up.
You were just probably laughing the whole entire time. I mean, it's just
I don't know what my mentality was, other than I wasn't putting my laptop down until I got my flak jacket and shit.
Yeah.
I wasn't leaving that behind.
God, deployments, bro.
So I got promoted. So we got back from Fallujah was like
Fallujah 1.
Fallujah 1. Yeah, we'll call it Fallujah 1. It's OIF 2. The push through Fallujah. Technically, it was the second push through Fallujah. If you read the history books, they started a push and they didn't get very far. Then they did the second push, which was the actual push, Phantom Fury.
Yep.
And then there was technically a little back clearing push that we did, and that's not really even talked about. So then we come home from this deployment, and it's fucking a month off.
Post deployment.
Yep. They give you a month, man. They gave us a month, legit.
Yeah.
So I don't remember a whole lot of it other than I drank a lot of alcohol.
Sure.
Which,
happens.
Not abnormal. So then we're working up. So literally the tempo went from Fallujah back to work up.
Immediately.
A month off, then you're back into it.
Okay.
So I think I was only home 8 months. Like if I do the math on
6 of those months, you're doing workups.
7 of those months.
Okay.
So back for 8 months, off for 1, work up for 7.
Okay.
So you're literally back into it. So this time I'm like, I was a squared away Marine, man. They meritoriously promoted me to corporal, and then they sent me to all these cool schools. So like I got to go to Bridgeport and be rock climbing course, and while my whole unit was getting, that was California.
Yep.
My whole unit was getting just slaughtered on the mountain, and I'm doing a fucking urban rock climbing course to teach them, if we had to do like Afghanistan for the next deployment.
Yep.
And so we're doing all this cool shit. Me and my buddy Rama thrived in that environment because we were from the outdoors. And so we learned all the knots and shit. And there was supposed to be like a lot of us, but there wasn't at the end. They'd take us on this deer run trail every day. And this was the only slaughter that I got at Bridgeport, but they'd take us on deer run trail, and dude, it would just like 7 or 8 miles up this mountain and then back down at, the elevation that you're at, it would just smoke your ass.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't that it was like all, fun and games, but it wasn't what they were playing war all night, every night up there on the mountain.
Yep.
Then we did. So I'm a corporal at this point. They're starting to put me in charge of shit. They gave me a squad at that point. We did, a demo course, and like we'd already played with a lot of demo, like I was in Fallujah and shit, but this demo course, none of the 0341s, which is the demolition guys, wanted to, or 41s or mortars, 51s are the demo guys. So none of the 51s wanted to carry the shit up the hill to blow it up. So it was again, me and Rama. So me and Rama are fucking carrying this shit up the fucking mountain, and we had to blow it all up. Like, dude, I'm talking every type of explosive you can name in the military. Like, we got to blow up on this range this one day.
Really?
Fucking epic, dude. Fucking epic.
Oh, I bet.
We did Bangalore's, Claymores, C4, TNT, shape charges, like everything you can think of, we got to blow up. And because I'm like promoting fast, I'm like, large and in charge, they're putting me in all these cool things. They send us to an AK-47 course.
Yep.
And they were probably doing this throughout the Marine Corps because they want you to be familiar with the enemy's weapon, right?
Yeah.
We show up at the course, and there's 12 guns. One squad showed up, and the instructors, and then the whole other battalion or whatever that was supposed to be there didn't show up.
So you got to shoot all their ammo?
Because you have to shoot all the ammo, or they have to count it to give it back.
Yep.
We shot an entire fucking pallet.
Yep.
No, it was 22 guns. There was 22 guns there. And the reason I know that is because we would shoot them till they were red fucking hot.
And then swap them?
Go back, grab ammo that the instructors were loading, and swap them and go back and shoot more. Dude, just tens of thousands of rounds. We shot so much that we shot them off the T-post. We shot the T-post off. Like there was no target left. It was just like, fucking blow the rest of these bullets.
You're just squeezing. Dude, we screwed up one time. We were on the range doing the heavies, the Ma Deuce and the Mark 19, so the 50 cal and the grenade launcher. And we were a bunch of little eager beaver young troops, and I was like, dude, let's just prep all this ammo. Like, let's get it all opened up. And the staff were kind of all fucking off. We had some downtime, so like a bunch of us just start popping cans. The little safety twist wire. And once you pop that,
you have to shoot it.
You have to shoot it, or you have to count every round that you turn back in. So we're over here just like, bop, bop, just popping cans and staging them. Well, on the range out in Pendleton, these bison come cruising out.
Yep.
So then they shut down the whole range, and we sat there for like 2 days.
Yep.
And my gunny, they finally get these bison off the range, and my gunny is like, listen, you fucking retards. You're going to spend the next 3 days counting all this ammo, or we got to burn it in like the next 2 hours. Dudes were just linking like 6 cans together, and you were just holding holding that butter, and you were just ripping 1,000-round bursts, bro. You just like you're just sitting there like trying to plug it. You weren't even looking. You just like, because in the turret, once you just sit there and just rip. And then as they were reloading the 50 cal, you would just burn through as much Mark 19 as they had linked together. And then they would start loading Mark 19, and you would just burn through the 50 cal. Dude, you would look at the turrets, and we were just
everything was red.
You'd open it up. You know that LSAT in the little the white lube shit. Did you ever use that?
Yeah.
Dude, we had bottles of it. You just open up that feed tray, just with oil, slam it shut, put it around it, slam it, rack, bah, bah, bah. And so it was so hot, bro. There was smoke. Every turret looked like chimneys because we burned thousands and thousands of. I mean, dude, the barrels were glowing on these things. It was insane.
Did you guys ever have the bush monster where they eat the bullets? The bush monster. So we'd go on ranges and they'd give you so many that you'd just give them to the bush monster, and the bush monster would eat them.
Bro, we were in 29 Palms. We were out in 29 Palms, Lovick Lake, doing like live fire maneuvers. And I was actually an instructor, so we were teaching a bunch of officers at the time. And you have to collect all your brass. And at the end, they had giant tarps laid out. And we have big, if you were smart, they had the little tube that would drop into like the brass box and collect everything. Well, they'd fill up. So we would just do like a sea bag and ratchet strap a sea bag on there, and you just fill a whole entire sea bag with brass. Well, then we're coming back, and then each vehicle, you had to separate the brass from the links, like brass in one pile, links in the other.
Okay.
I'm sitting here like, fuck this. Like, I'm not doing this. So every time we'd finish our maneuvers, you're miles out in the desert because you're just
your bag as you drive in.
So I'd dump the whole sea bag, and I'd have my driver just pivot the vehicle because we're tracks. So we'd throw this giant berm and just bury all the brass. And I'm like, let's roll it. I'd close the back hatch, and we would get back, and everybody's sitting there all night sorting brass and links. And we'd go to bed every night. And I'd tell the officers like, yo, if you guys want to separate all this shit, say something. Like, if you want to shut the fuck up and get some sleep, don't say anything. We got it all. So yeah, I used to bury all of that
Marine
stuff
Corps
out
tricks.
there. Oh,
good old Marine Corps tricks.
You'd find anyway. Yeah, we ended up figuring out, because to clean the 50 cal, that's 3 days to get guns, armor ready. To turn back in.
Oh, I'm sure, dude.
We would get back to
Big
the ramp,
guns?
and we had pressure washers, and so I would get my pressure washer, and I'd go behind the vehicle, and I'd have my crewmen bring me like chunks at a time, like just take the bolt out, and I'm pressure washing the whole inside of the sear, everything. I'm just blasting it. We would finish in 30 minutes. I'd be like, we'd dry it off, lube it all down. I'd give it to the armor. They'd be like, there's no way. And I'm like, all right, well, fucking inspect it. They'd be like, all right, you're good. And people like, I never even told anybody, none of the other crew chiefs, nothing, because I didn't want them jumping on the train and then getting caught. So I just
busted,
So I would just like walk over with pieces here and there and just pressure wash all that grease out of it, lube them back up, turn them in. Dude, we would be done in like literally less than an hour, and it would take you days to clean that shit with Q-tips.
Yeah, Q-tip inspection. People don't understand that, but
dude, boxes of Q-tips, boxes. You're there for
clean this rifle a little more. It's weapon. Sorry.
Yeah. So you're back, round two.
Round two, working up. We did the Mojave. We did Yuma for a month.
Did you do Apple Valley at all? Victorville? No?
Yuma was gnarly. We almost got in a helicopter crash with some helicopter came over the other side. Man, they almost got in a crash, literally.
Really?
Yeah, hot, miserable place, illegals or, running amok down there during that time period.
Yeah.
That'd have been what, 2006, 2005, 2006. Yep. And then, so we're working up. We're working up for the second deployment. Still pretty serious tempo. I'd already seen a lot, pretty hard at that point.
For sure.
Hadn't processed anything. I think that's one thing that people don't see.
You didn't have time.
I haven't processed anything, and I don't know that I knew that I was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
It's
not talked about.
It's not talked about. So PTSD, just to give you an example, PTSD in the Marine Corps is non-existent.
Yeah.
You do not believe in PTSD. I remember a guy getting out saying he had PTSD, and everybody making jokes about it and
talking shit,
yelling and talking shit as he walked off the base. And I think back to that, and I'm like, PTSD didn't exist. It was a form of, it was a sign of weakness, in my opinion. That's probably what you thought it was, but obviously it's not. But that's what we thought, I guess. And just the way you're ingrained, that it was, not talked about. So I didn't process anything. So I'm working up. So then we deploy south of Fallujah. So this deployment's whole tempo was completely different, right? So going right into it, the rules of engagement were different. You had to have, at the beginning, I think at the beginning it was just a little lighter that, they could just point a gun, but there was a point where they had to shoot at you, dude.
Yeah.
Like if they weren't shooting at you, you can't fucking shoot them.
Yep.
Like not just point a gun, but shoot.
What year is this?
0506.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it'd have been 0506. Yeah. So I'm a corporal. I'm in charge. We held security, did a lot of combat and reconnaissance patrols. Shit. I was reading something of mine the other day and it said like 200 combat and reconnaissance patrols that I led. And I'm thinking, man, that's a lot, dude. That was a lot of shit. Think about this. I was only there for 7 months. Multiple a day. I was only there for 7 months. I'm like, shit.
Do the math.
So, some of the IEDs were getting a lot better. And so at that period of time, V-beds and IEDs were a big deal. And so every other day within the company, and people aren't going to understand company, battalion, platoon, all that. But, of the 4 big platoons in a company, we were getting hit at least every other day.
Really?
And we were finding explosions every day.
Okay.
With IEDs. So it was like serious IEDville.
So everything's changed now.
Everything's changed. Like it's not a lot of skirmishes because they know they'll lose. It's a lot of IEDs. Now there was some skirmishes that we had, but a lot of the stuff that happened was IEDs and then IED, then an ambush, or IED, and then they're just recording it or whatever they're doing, We did have one cat get shot in the throat and passed away. He was from another platoon. He was one of the junior Marines, just standing on watch one day. So there was still some death. We had a vehicle-borne IED at one of the weapons units. So the weapons was pulling in at night, and they had it all sandbagged up, and they had all their vehicles stacked out front, all 5 Humvees. Fucking massive V-bed pulled in, dude. A dump truck, and fucking blew them all up. Every truck was destroyed.
Really?
All the glass from the windows that they didn't break out went through the sandbags and hit the wall, and it impaled some guys. And then, it was massive IED.
No
V-bed.
shit.
A lot of injuries. I don't think any deaths on that one. That was our weapons company, but we had a pretty good gunfight. We had a couple pretty good gunfights, but one of the days we pulled up. I was running the patrol, and the guy that was driving my truck was actually my machine gunner. And the reason I'm going to tell this story is because he's no longer with us. He actually committed suicide. But he was in the driver's seat instead of being on the machine gun. So I had the same fucker that didn't shoot the machine gun over there, had the machine gun up here. So he was on the machine gun, but he wasn't super trained on the 240.
Okay.
Like that wasn't his MOS. He knew how to use it, but he wasn't super trained. So if I can get the story right, we see this guy lining up a rocket at our house that we're living at. We literally just pulled around the corner, and as they're shooting this rocket, we pull up. Another guy grabs an AK, starts pointing it. So of course I get out, and I'm just dumping rounds in this guy. And so he gets shot, and he spins, and he starts running. The other guy's getting shot. Chaos is happening. The 240's going off. Not sure why the 240's not on this guy. The 240's on the other guy. And so I went through 4 mags at this guy, fucking running away from me. And I'd already put a bullet or 2 in him.
Really?
So then we go in there and we patrol out to where he's at from where we held some security on our vehicles. We patrol out to where he went in. We can't find this guy. So it was hotter than shit, man. Like hotter than shit, like 120 fucking, you're just dripping sweat. So we patrol back to the truck, patrol back to base. kind of downloading everything. Well, the next day they come back and they're like, oh, those were Syrians. Our intel showed us that they were Syrians. Two of the three, there was 3 guys, 2 of the 3 had died. One of them had died on scene, and then one of them had gotten shot from the one that I'd shot and he chased, and he ended up dying. And then the other guy, I don't know, but they were Syrians that were paid to come attack our base.
Really?
So like, you know, the details are a little foggy for all of it, but the reality was, the story is that Syrians were paid to come attack our base in Iraq next to Fallujah. And so like, again, it's like, who is your enemy, right?
Yeah.
Who is your enemy?
Yeah.
But yeah, just another day, man. Wasn't even a big deal. Literally wasn't even a big deal.
Did you, either deployment, get into any close engagements? I'm talking like same room, same house type of deal.
I'm trying to think, and I'm not trying to think outside. Yes and no. None that like stand out. Like when Lou passed away, I didn't get into a room with an insurgent, but a lot of like the building of, a lot of the building of, and if that makes any sense, I bet if I could think back, there'd be a lot of this has been suppressed. And so I haven't really thought about it. Like, it's not something I think about every day by any means. But there was a lot of good gunfights. We had, you know, same room or same, we got hit with an IED one day, and I actually got a Navy comm written on this, but
really,
we got hit with an IED, and a couple of my Marines got blown up. The front of the Humvee did. So they pop out. They're all shell shocked. At the same time, an ambush hit us with machine guns. And so we're deterring the machine guns with small arms. And I'm now trying to coordinate QRF to get the wounded out. At the same time, the wounded are getting out. I have my doc pick up an M4 or an A4, which is an M16. And the sight post was different than his because he carried a shotgun. And he was just suppressing fire, man. Like, it was everybody fucking shoot or you fucking die. And so he picks up this gun and he shoots, and it ricochets off the side of the high back and hits one of my Iraqi army guys in a couple spots, once in the face and once in the hand, because the scope was higher than the barrel. So he was looking through the scope, but he was taking cover, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, so there's green tip on green tip as this is happening. So I got another casualty here. I got the 2 guys in the front plus the guy in the back. And we ended up the QRF showed up pretty quick. And it was this fucking bad motherfucker, Gunny Brewer. And he just pulls up with these fucking machine guns, and they were just roaring. Mark 19 grenade launchers and 240s, just fucking ripping these guys. The thing was, at that time in Iraq, like when you'd go shoot someone, they would go pick up their casualties before you even knew what the fuck happened. By the time we got rid of our casualties, got our casualties to help, got rid of the Humvee because we're not leaving it in the middle of the road, and got to where those trucks were, where we'd shot a bunch of people, they were already gone. There was blood, but there was no people left. Like, they pick up their wounded. It was weird, man.
I've heard that quite a bit. I've heard it in Afghan too, how dudes, I've talked to guys and they're like, dude, I dropped a Taliban, watch them crumble. Yep. He's like, did you hike up there? Gone. There's just blood. And they're like, you never.
It's like they pick them up. I didn't really understand it at the time, but, you know, thankfully everybody in my squad survived that. I'm sure they got a claim for TBI from that fucking IED that hit that truck direct, but
for sure.
Fucking just shocked the shit out of them, rocked them. And then that Iraqi army guy, he was like one of the only good Iraqi army guys during that period, man. They just didn't have what it took. They didn't care enough about their country.
They still don't. Yeah.
And so I don't know how it was for other people, man, but our experience was we had like one really good guy, and he actually spoke English.
Okay.
From watching movies. And so I'd really take care of that guy. That guy called me like 4 years after I got out of the military.
Really?
He called me on my cell phone. It was some fucking, Iraqi number. I'm like, what the fuck? I picked it up. He's like, oh, fucking Jeffries. I was like, dude, let me pay for you to get to America.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I'm fighting for my country still. And then.
Was he more of a terp for you guys?
He played both.
Yeah.
He wasn't a terp, but I used him as a terp.
Did you have terps?
Yeah.
How were they?
Barely spoke English. Fuck.
That's where people, dude.
Tell this motherfucker to show me where the bombs are. And then, who knows what he told the guy. He probably told him to fuck off. But
my favorite terp story ever is we had this terp, and this dude was god awful. And we're interrogating this dude. And I look at my terp. I'm like, ask him where he's coming from. And he literally turns and he looks at the people and goes, where are you coming from? I'm like, motherfucker, it's in Arabic. Like, ask him. And then he's like, oh. And then he would ask. And then they would repeat it back. And then he'd speak it to me. I'm like, okay, now English to
he just
me.
didn't understand how to interpret.
All day, every day. And I'd be like, dude, where were they headed? Where are you headed? I'm like, oh my God. Like, it was the funniest shit looking back on it. Like, because, for us, like grunt units, support units, whatever, because us being tracks, we don't get the high tier terps. Those are going to
intelligence
SF units, intel, like the Americans.
I never thought about that.
And so you'd always run into him and be like, yo, how's your terp? It was like a thing for us. How's your terp? Like, God, get this dude out of here. Like, it was because they're usually just some guy that wants to help and they don't even know how to barely speak English. You're trying to be a terp to your terp as he's trying to talk to them.
So that's why I like the Iraqi dude, because he was he fucking understood. He knew the purpose. He knew the purpose. That was the thing. Like, you could fucking relate the words all you want, but if they don't know the fucking purpose, like, they're going to get it. So, second deployment was good, man. I didn't lose any Marines in my platoon. I didn't lose any Marines in my squad. I don't know that they loved me, but they ain't dead. So there's that. They tried to meritoriously combat promote me to sergeant.
Really?
Which is really a difficult thing in the infantry. Like, getting promoted to corporal and sergeant within 4 years corporal is doable, but sergeant is not really obtainable.
Yeah.
And so I was at that was 2 years and 6 months in or something.
Mm-hmm. That's quick for you guys.
So they tried to combat meritoriously promote me, but because I'd just gotten meritoriously promoted to corporal, meritorious means they just give it to you.
Yep.
So they couldn't get me the sergeant because I didn't have enough of the paperwork done. So my fucking leadership helps me do the paperwork while we're in Iraq.
Really?
I remember it was Brewer and that badass Gunny and this other and I forget his name, but he was a badass too. I actually saw Brewer here last summer in a reunion that I threw, but they helped me do my paperwork. So right when I got back, the very first thing they did is got me promoted meritoriously to sergeant. And it was just that made me feel good in life. Like those are validations that have shown that I worked hard and I got rewarded.
For sure. Which doesn't happen very often in grunt units.
Correct.
So the fact that that's happening and the fact that your staff actually fought for it and acknowledge it, that's even a success or something that doesn't happen by itself.
I had some badass leadership. My lieutenant was badass. My captain was badass. My platoon sergeant, all of them, man. They were all just good dudes.
That's good.
I did turn 21 in Iraq that second deployment.
Okay.
Had an NA beer and a fucking balloon. That's what I remember. So.
An NA beer.
Yeah, an NA beer, man.
A Tiger beer that was 100 degrees. It was warm
I think
as
we only.
shit.
I don't think those were easy to come by.
Yeah.
So we get home, and at this point, still no PTSD. I only had, I don't remember the exact months, but I think I had about 11 months left on my contract to get out of the Marine Corps. So I played around a little bit with the fleet, with my unit, and then they were working up to deploy again. They're going back to fucking Fallujah. I'm like, fuck that, dude. I've had enough of this.
Yeah. Two back-to-back trips to Fallujah, I'd say
this would have been the third.
Yeah.
And so luckily for them, that deployment was relatively slow and calm, but the reality was we didn't know what the tempo was going to be, man. The last one was gnarly, Fallujah was horrible. The second one was gnarly, and then they want to go back. So I let myself go to the military police. Now, I'd say I learned a lot there. Like, there was bomb threats and domestics and all sorts of craziness because you're on Camp Pendleton where there's a bunch of combat fucking Marines and just being fucking drunkards, alcoholics, abusers.
So you're dealing with the whole first and second wave that have come back from war.
Correct.
That have zero help. Nobody's even knowing how to cope.
Correct.
handle, treat, deal with dudes that are coming back from your era. And now you're a cop having to deal with them.
Yep. But again, at this point, I didn't have PTSD, didn't believe in it, still didn't see it.
Okay.
So I'm just helping these fucked up people. Okay. They're just fucked up in my eyes.
Yeah.
So
And you're good.
I'm good. I got my shit together, but I'm working every day. Literally, I worked every day for like months and months on end.
Okay.
At the time, I married my wife in 2006. So it was somewhere in that transition that I got married on leave. And this is to the same woman that I'm still married to.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. Fucking lucky to have her. So we got married and then she got pregnant somewhere in there. And so as I'm phasing out of the Marine Corps, because I know I have a date that I'm leaving, my EAS, she's pregnant. I'm dealing with all this bullshit as an MP. And at the same time, I'm getting belittled by some of the command at the MPs that hadn't deployed. And they were just picking on me, man. I was a stud MP. I was a stud Marine.
Okay.
I was a stud MP and I was doing everything and above. They even made me a patrol sergeant or a patrolman as a sergeant when I was an MP, which is really just not what they do. They don't give patrol cars to just anyone. They give those to the MP MOS.
Yeah.
But because I was so good at the gate, I was promotable, they gave me all this range. So it wasn't that I wasn't still doing a good job. It was just, I don't know, man. It just part of the Marine Corps. And so that really just gave me a horrible distaste. And I was definitely getting out at that point. My squad leader at the time, or my platoon sergeant from the last unit, really wanted me to stay in and thrive. And, hey man, you're going to be a freaking staff sergeant in 6 years. You're going to be a bad motherfucker, But I wasn't going to have that, especially once I went to the MPs, man. It was just foul taste.
That'll do it, dude. Units like that, it just takes one little thing. Like I had no problem until I went to the schoolhouse.
Yeah.
And then that's when it ruined it for me. I was like, I can't. It's time. It's time for me. So you solidify the reason of getting out.
Yep.
So you're 100% out. How was your transition out of the military?
So I remember my actual TAPS class or whatever that was that they
TAP or whatever.
Yeah, I remember it being like 1 day or 4 hours or something. Like, here's how to be a civilian. Here's a little book on the VA. Fuck off.
Here's how you write a resume.
No idea, dude. No idea. I got out. I got a job. My brother got me a job with the place that he worked, and I was busting tires for about a week. And I said to myself, I do not want to be a PFC again. And so this same transition time, I went from that to I'm going to go to school because I don't want to work from the bottom. I want to be promotable and, all these other things. And like, again, I barely graduated high school. So this is like a big feat going into the college, but I have a GI Bill at my ready. So I started in the community college, and at the same time as I transitioned into the community college, and I'll tell you, I was fighting for my life.
Okay.
And this was the other side of the deployment, right? So the combat side was you almost died by bullets, by bombs, by explosions, by IEDs and all these things. At the point in which I got out of the military and transitioned into being a civilian, I didn't know what to do with the anxiety and the depression that I had. I didn't know what it was. I didn't believe in PTSD. I didn't even know what the fuck TBI was. And I was fucked up, man. I was deeply fucked up. And, I survived college and survived my wife and survived my daughter being born somehow, some way.
Okay.
During this whole period. So I don't want you to think that I was out there using drugs on the streets. I was in really bad shape, but I was still doing the things that I had to do to live.
Bad shape as in how?
I was in bad shape emotionally. I was traumatically just fucked, man. I had the worst anxiety ever. And so I now know that it was anxiety. But basically what it was like an anvil sitting on your chest. And this was years, man, years of this.
What would trigger it?
Everything. Listen, I didn't leave the house for freaking, without having anxiety or.
So now all of this time is now catching up to you.
Correct.
And you don't even know how to process it.
I don't even know how to process it. The VA has its, everybody's going to have their opinion on the VA. Here's what I'll tell you. I'll tell you, if you fight for what you want or you know what you need, you can get what you need out of the VA. It just takes a lot of jumping, man.
Yeah.
You just got to jump through a lot of hoops.
Yeah.
And so I jumped through every hoop I had to, man. And I pushed on, and I'm a very strong-willed individual.
Okay.
And I pushed and I pushed and I pushed.
How did you know to push? Was your wife helping you? I mean,
You know, my wife was there as a support, but she didn't know what the fuck to do. I actually, what I had was a couple good people in the veteran service centers.
okay.
There's something called vet centers. And I would tell you to this day, I did a documentary on it a few years back. There's quite a few years now, but I would say the veteran center are what saved my life.
Okay.
And it's not, so they're paid for through the VA, but they're counselors. They're not necessarily medication. And I think that the thing was, the day that I walked in there and I went in there, he read my combat, certificate and my DD-214, and he read that I had a Navy comm with with combat meritorious stuff on there. And he's like, "You're a fucking war hero. You deserve all the benefits that I'm going to help you get." And he started pushing stuff. And that was the first time that I heard of a service connection disability.
Really?
He was the guy that pushed me into the next guy, that pushed me into the next guy or gal that helped me start getting those services.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like us introducing people to those services is one of the number one things we can do to help our veterans.
For sure.
The services that are there, they're not always easy, man. They don't always make sense.
No.
Over the course of 15 years, I went through personal counseling, family counseling. I went through an inpatient. I went to outpatient. I did a 30-day inpatient in Seattle where I actually separated from my wife.
What led to that, if you don't mind me asking?
Well,
what was the build up to this?
I was on a med dose, and then I got a job working graves. And my career's been pretty good, but I had this one little stint where I worked for the railroad, and I was working graveyards for about 8 months. And we think that it probably fucked with my meds enough that it just flipped the switch. And I literally flipped the switch. I lost my shit, man.
Oh.
Left my wife, left my family, fucking fuck you guys. I'm done with this shit.
Just hated the world?
Just hated the world, man. Couldn't function. And I ended up in a 30-day inpatient, which then put me back onto my track of strong-willed, getting shit done, surviving.
And your wife stuck all this out?
My wife stuck all this out, man.
Damn, dude. Good for her.
We've been almost divorced twice. Like, she's a fucking, my wife's name's Rochelle. We've been married for, I think, 19 years this year. We got married in 2006, so it'll be 20 next year.
Damn, good for you guys. Good for her.
Yeah,
Good for her.
She actually tells me this story that she thinks that we were married in another life too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Good for you guys, man. You've it's not easy. It's not easy to stick it out with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who,
for sure.
who you become, especially guys like you that have been through absolute hell. And then the military's like, thanks for service. Have a nice life.
Have a nice life.
You don't even know how to process anything. You don't even know what you're coping with, dealing with. You don't even know why you hate. Why do you have the hate?
Yeah.
And so the fact, I love hearing these stories of marriages working, because it's so easy to quit, especially on us as men, as these big fucking dumb retards. We don't know what we're doing. And then when you have a good one, that's why I'm so fortunate over my wife. And I give her so much props, because it is not easy.
Yeah.
We are not easy to love. That is for sure. So,
yeah. So all these troubles, PTSD. So
yeah,
I think part of my success, I can lead it to a few things. Counseling.
Really?
I had some fucking amazing counselors, Audra and Joan. So I had one at the vet center that really stuck it out with me for a couple of years.
Okay.
Through some hard shit. And then I had multiple others, and like, you're going to go through counselors, man. You're going to go into a counselor and you're going to be like, I don't fucking like this person.
For sure.
Well, that's not the person that's going to work for you then.
Yeah.
Then you find a fucking other one, man, and you try again.
Uh-huh.
And you'll eventually find a reason or a purpose. EMDR, like all these different therapies, man. I've tried everything. I also had another one that the VA kicked me out of their counseling because they were full. So they sent me to the civilian world. So I get this counselor, and she's a badass. Her name's Joan. She's now retired. She's like in her 80s now. So this wasn't really too long in the distant future. This is within the last 10 years. So she was older in life when I met her. She would meet me at like 4 and 5 in the morning to have these sessions before I'd go to work fighting wildfire and doing all these other jobs that I've done over the years. I've had a whole career in wildfire, and I don't know how deep we'll get into that, but the idea would be that I would still go to counseling, even though I had to go work a 16, and this lady would stick it out with me. So the VA then takes the resource back and says, oh, you're coming back to the VA. I said, the fuck I am. I'm staying with this private, I just built a 2-year relationship with this person. Yeah. Why would I leave? So I'm brainstorming with her. I'm like, listen, I don't have the money to pay you copays and deductibles of the whatever I got for the state insurance bullshit. She's like, well, just bring me Antler lights. And so at the time I was building Antler lamps. And so I would trade her my copay and deductible to get through the counseling while I was still working another job. So I feel like that's a lot, man. That's a lot for anybody. But I feel like those are some of the reasons that the counseling is one of the major reasons to my success.
For sure.
I'd say the VA meds. I fucking hate them, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're a love-hate. I am so leveled on the meds. I tried to wean off one of them for another reason. And it just literally, I just went off like half of the pill and my whole world got turned upside down. And this is within the last year I tried that. So it's like
that little bit made that much of a difference.
That little bit made that much of a difference, man. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how other people feel. Like maybe they're not feeling 100%, and maybe there's another med to throw into the category. I'm literally taking 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. Crazy, dude. Crazy amount of med. But yeah, I'm on 4 meds. So I was heavily medicated in college and I quit drinking. And I feel like that's part of the reason I survived college, because I didn't have something else to I focused on school. That's all I did is focus on school. I was sober. I was just like, this is fucking horrible college, experience. Like I had a great college experience, but I'm sitting in there with a bunch of kids, man. I just got back from war. I'm having, mental health issues. I'm watching, what do they call them? Intrusive thoughts. I'm watching people's heads get blown off sitting in class. Like that was a real thing, man. That happened to me all the time. So it was just like, I got through my college experience, but I never stayed at a frat. I owned a house. I went to school locally. So I went to Spokane Community College and I went to Gonzaga University.
Okay.
Everybody's like, oh, you must be smart. I was like, man, I was a Marine first, dude. Shit.
Don't forget that.
Shit, don't forget that, man. But, I made it through college and I doubled my high school GPA. So I made it through college. I got these jobs, and with the medication, the alcohol use kind of kicked back in. But when you're using alcohol and you're using those heavy med doses, they actually counteract each other. So you're not helping yourself as much as you could. And it's not that, it's not good for your body, but the reality is you're going to do what you fucking want.
Sure.
If you want to use shit and abuse your body, you do that all you want. It's going to catch up to you. But I think in the end, I ended up having enough issues with alcohol always. I could never just have one. It was always, I'm going to have a fucking 6-pack, or I'm always drinking, or, I used to call them production beers and, drink some light beer and do shit. But, the reality is it was a crutch. It was a crutch, man. I quit drinking about 4.5 years ago. I've been dry, man, and I'm never going back. Just like tobacco, nicotine. Like, I don't care how good your nicotine pouch or that cigar is. I'm not going to have it with you, because I have to have a zero tolerance, because that's me. Yeah. That's how I operate.
Yeah. And at least that. A lot of guys I don't feel ever get to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, man, if you just quit this,
why
don't you just try? And then they get so, I think it's a coping mechanism, or it's a crutch or a Band-Aid as far as taking distractions away from stuff. And instead of focusing on the problem, okay, if I just clean myself up for 2 months, let's just see how I act. And a lot of guys just can't do that. Everybody battles their own demons. But the fact that you were able to process like, hey, I don't want any of it. And then you see the outcome and how things start to turn around. Your attitude probably starts to increase. You're not looking at everything negatively.
Yep.
Because like you said, dude, you mix alcohol with some of these meds that the VA will give you. Holy fuck, bro.
It's not a good combination, man.
No, and that's why I think a lot of these dudes end up suicide by cop or killing themselves, because they're mixing so much shit with the meds from the VA, and it's just a cocktail for a disaster.
Yeah.
Like I'm huge. I'm against meds unless I feel we just over medicate everybody.
We do 100%. Like, we're putting a Band-Aid on a permanent problem.
100%.
Listen, I got a giant Band-Aid on it. But
it's twerking.
I also have other people to be like, well, you could do these other therapies and, you know, these microdosing and these different science stuff. And I like that. I like to talk about stuff that's options. I cannot get off the med dose to know if it's ever going to work. So even if I did it, I wouldn't know the difference because I feel good now and I'm not getting off the med dose to check because I tried that. I tried that recently and it went horribly.
Okay.
And so like for me, that's going to be my demon forever. You know, I'm probably going to be on meds till I die or till something happens. Right. So,
have you looked into possibly doing like a ayahuasca trip? Would you be open to something like that?
Mexico stuff?
I mean, yeah, but we could do it here.
Well, so like microdose stuff?
No, this is like a full ayahuasca. You're going to face all your demons type of shit.
See, I think the problem is that I'm not really anxious or I'm not really motivated to do any of that stuff because what I have works great.
Okay.
And so in order for me to try something, I would have to either taper off because even if I did that, then I would still
not know if it worked or not.
Know if it worked or not. I don't know. It's kind of it's a muddy mix. I'd have to do some reading on it.
For sure.
I'd have to do some reading. Sure. I'm open to anything, man. I'm easy, man.
I haven't done it yet, but I have a lot of friends that are deep into it. I have a buddy, man. He was a very angry, just hateful person for a long time. And dude, that dude is like a teddy bear. I mean, he is a 180.
Really?
I mean, if you meet him now, you'd be like, man, that's a great dude. I'm like, yeah, you should have known him 10 years ago. Like, he would have fucking throat punched you just for looking at him wrong.
Wow.
I mean, crazy, borderline crazy. And now he's like the most gentle. He's got like this fucking hippie music playing in his house when you walk in. He's all about peace and love. And I'm like, like it's been so like that's the type of stuff where I'm like, okay, something's working. But then at the same time, when I've dug into this, I personally feel that there's a demonic side to ayahuasca, especially being a Christian and like getting back into the faith of things. I feel there's a potential of opening up some doors there.
Yeah.
So that's where my
hesitation has come.
That's where my hesitation comes from with that. But at the same time, then I look at these dudes and I got a guy sitting right across from me that's done 10 years in prison, been shot a couple people. And he's like, dude, I've walked with God. Like I have that relationship when he's done his ayahuasca trip. So like, I'm so conflicted and torn because I want to do it, but then at the same time, it's like, I have my questions and it's weird. It's a weird thing, but I see it helping a lot of guys.
Well, so the other thing that I think that helps me is keeping busy.
Oh, for sure.
So the guy that is bored is going to just drink or be in his thoughts and
chasing everything.
Be a negative. And listen, I work 2 jobs. I have 2 jobs and I can explain those, but I also hunt excessively. As it sounds like as much as you, but listen, I can't say no to a tag. Literally. I literally can't say no.
This is the first year
This is a first world problem.
This is my first year saying no to a tag. So I understand the struggle.
It's hard, dude. It's hard. And so I just stay so busy and do these positive things that, you know, I have no time to be negative. Like I feel like that's a lot of veterans and depression and other things, you know, law enforcement. It's where they sit at home and mulk on they
rot
on their negative stuff.
I 100% agree with you. I think that's something as in the veteran community, do the therapy, get your meds dialed, but none of that is going to get the full effect if you're just sitting home soaking in your sorrows and just thinking and thoughts and all this shit that fester. Like look on deployment when guys get bored. I mean, it doesn't sound like you guys were bored, but like my second deployment, people were bored, and that's when guys start getting in trouble.
Yep.
Shit starts happening. Your mind starts wandering. That's when problems happen, is when guys do not have shit to do, and that's where, over the years of me working with vets, and it's like, man, you're still struggling. I'm like, well, what do you do? I just sit at home. I'm like, yeah, anybody's gonna be miserable. You don't have a purpose. Yeah. So it's finding that goal, that purpose, and that drive to take your mind off of all of that.
Well, and purpose and drive doesn't always mean job.
No, not at all.
I happen to have 2 jobs that I have purpose and drive in.
Very lucky. You're fortunate with that.
Very fortunate. So another thing that I've kept busy with is the antlers.
Let's talk about this because this is how we got connected. So you're the owner operator of Custom Antler Designs, right?
Correct.
Did I fuck that up?
Nope,
No,
that's good.
got that right. You build the most beautiful antler chandeliers, lamps. You just brought me one as a gift, which dude, I'm so stoked over that. And this is, I think, how I ended up finding out you, because I'm friends with Brantley Gilbert. You built a badass chandelier for in his closet.
Yep.
And this is my favorite part about the veteran community is veterans that are doing something and contributing. Doesn't matter how it is. And I want to hear how you got into this. So, this is, to me, is the best part of where we're at as our generation, is getting away from the identity and the crisis of just being a disabled veteran. And I talk about it a lot on this show. I'm very open, and I will die on that hill that the most miserable vets are the ones that don't have a purpose. And these guys that their identity becomes being a disabled vet, and they live for being a disabled vet, which keeps you as a victim.
Yep.
And my biggest goal is to get guys to start anything. It doesn't even need to be a business. It could just start as a hobby.
Yep.
So let's walk through Custom Antler Designs, because you are doing a little bit of everything from railings that are just woven in the most beautiful horns you've ever seen, the most beautiful chandeliers, to a lamp. So how did all of this happen?
Well, it started in 2008.
Okay.
So I was still super messed up, PTSD ridden, TBI, broken in some regards. And I was driving down a highway, and I saw a guy selling antler lamps on the side of the road. I'm still friends with this guy to this day, but basically I went there and I spent more money than I had. I think the lamp was, $400 and I had $300. So I literally zeroed out my checking, put it in a negative, and bought this antler lamp. At the same time, my wife is pregnant, and we just got out of the Marine Corps, and we have no money or nothing, not even a job to even start anything. So it was a big deal that I bought this thing. So I bought this lamp, and I take it home, and I'm like, dude, this is the coolest thing I've ever had. My wife supports me in everything that I do, just like she always has. Well, over the years, it was kind of like, it was almost a burden to the family, because I would spend $300 or $400 on antlers. So here's what I figured out. I figured out that I could build a lamp. So I took apart that lamp, I rebuilt it. Then I built my own lamp. Then I built a coat rack. Then I built an antler handled pizza cutter. Then I built, and I started selling them to friends and family and putting them on Craigslist. And then, it progressed. Well, then I'm spending $300 or $400 of our money that, when you only get $1,100 paycheck, $300 or $400 is big dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd take this money and I'd buy antlers, and it was a burden. So fast forward to about 2000, probably it'd have been 2012, 13, probably. Okay. I'm working for the state, and one of the foresters approached me and said that they had a giant pile of antlers, like a whole truckload, and they would pay me that if I built them an antler chandelier. And so I hadn't built a chandelier yet. I'd messed with one little one, but it hadn't really been completed. It was going to be a gift to a friend. So the whole thing is, it's intimidating. Like, working with antlers is a whole niche in itself, but like learning how to wire and figuring out all the other stuff, man, it's intimidating. You're putting this in someone's home, so it's got to be safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I built this chandelier over the course of 6 months. Literally, it took me 6 months to build this 6-foot chandelier, and I built it and finished it. It looks okay. It looks all right. And I helped him hang it. My first one. And so I built a lot of shitty stuff for a number of years.
Okay. Your shitty quality? Are you considered it shitty, or
100% my shitty quality?
Okay.
And there was a certain turning point when I really started to hone in and figure out quality was where I wanted to be. And so I'm one of the only crafters. Well, there's not really many crafters in the country, but really there's not many that don't stain the whole chandelier. So basically, like, the big companies, they'll build the chandelier, drill it all out, putty it all up, and then they'll stain it. Well, I don't do that.
Matches.
So it matches. I only color match the antlers, and I only paint the holes that we epoxy.
Got it.
So that makes me different. So as this has progressed, so has my skills in the building the chandeliers. So I build these extravagant chandeliers now, and I ship them all over the country. And I've built all over the world now. I built them in New Zealand. I built them in Alaska. I've rebuilt stuff. I've just had a lot of really cool experiences with a lot of cool people. And Brantley was one of those. Hannah Barron was one. Just some really positive people that have impacted my life. And I build these custom antler chandeliers and I ship them to your door. And the beauty is that, like, I don't have a point of sale website where you just click on and be like, I want that one. You know, if you like something, I can rebuild it.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we can custom build for any spot, any space, any size, any type of antler that you like, any type of piece of wood that you want me to hang above it or whatever.
No shit.
We can build it, all custom. There was a point that the switch from being a negative in my family to making it a positive switched in the business.
How did that feel?
I don't even know that I saw it.
Okay.
But
okay.
I think that now that I look back in hindsight, it's like, oh my gosh, this has been the biggest blessing on my family.
Yeah.
The chandelier business. You know, I don't know how people don't survive with a side hustle in this economy, but you know, I work another 9-to-5 job for the fire department that we can mention too. But basically the chandelier business, I'm shipping these chandeliers all over the country. I had a therapist, that one therapist that I love so much that I saw in the morning. She finally pointed out at one point, she says, Nick, did you know that antlers is therapy to you? And I said, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. I can't believe I never thought about that. And so really, you know, the buying, selling, trading, you know, last month I bought, 2,000 pounds of antlers. And so this is a serious operation, man. We can build you anything with any type of antler you can ever dream of.
Good for you, man.
So
what's the biggest challenge of working with horn like that with Antler?
For me, it's a matter of like engineering the whole piece.
How does it start? I'm fascinated with this because you've been looking at your stuff. I mean, how it all just flows and then it'll all curl at the same point. Is that a nightmare trying to match it? Like, how many different pieces are you going through?
So I think that, I'll give you so much because I don't always share all the trade secrets. But,
yeah.
But the idea is that I can imagine a piece and I can imagine it in my brain enough that I can engineer it. Okay. Because realistically, you have to drill out all these antlers. So every antler is going to have wiring running through it. And then every antler is going to be screwed together. So you can't put screws where the wiring are, right? So then you have that dynamic. And then like on the bottom tier of something, you might have like on Hannah Barron's, we probably put, 9, 18, 27, and then another 18. Probably 100 antlers just in the bottom tier, all lefts, all the same size. Just one tier.
Oh,
so you have to have the right quality and quantity of antler to build a nice light too. Yeah. I tell people that. They're like, can I ship you my antlers? I was like, absolutely. And if you got a bunch of trophies, maybe we can work with it. If you got a bunch of stuff that's not trophies, maybe we use my stuff for the bottom and then we build yours up. Like I just built this guy, this monster whitetail chandelier. It's like 6 foot tall. And I used a big tier of my stuff on the bottom. And so it's beautiful and perfect. And then I used all his small stuff, his cutoff stuff that was skull plated. I only use naturally shed antlers. So, yeah, but I've gotten really, really good. And we got quite the process, man. I got a nephew that helps me part-time. I got an employee that does epoxy and paint full-time. I got my cousin that helps me crate and ship part-time. Got accountants and all that good stuff. And it's quite the operation.
What's the biggest piece you've done?
So I did a railing project that was like 100 and something foot of railing, but the biggest lights that I'm building are about 8 foot.
Tall?
8 foot tall or 8 foot long, depending on, they're massive. They weigh hundreds of pounds.
I was going to say, what's something like that weigh?
Hundreds of pounds, depending on what it is. I just built one. I just commissioned one for a gentleman, and it was a pleasure because it was all his antler from their ranch that they're actually building the house on.
Okay.
Dude, they sent me 2 pallets of antlers.
Really?
Incredible, man. Incredible. And, some of it was nice. Some of it was not so nice. But the beauty was that it's all his. Mm-hmm. And so I built him this beautiful piece out of all his antler.
How much money does that save somebody by using their own?
It depends on how crazy it is.
Okay.
So like I tell people like on smaller medium stuff, sometimes it's even more work if I use your antler because I'm having to cut and sand and do all this other stuff, and then they're not symmetrical. You know, like in my piles, man, I can go through and I can pick out 10 rights that are the exact same size, exact same shape, exact same weight.
Okay.
And that's how you're getting symmetry.
Okay. Yeah, because if you look at them, it almost looks like they're fake, like molded, because they, at least looking at yours, like Brantley Gilbert's is a perfect example.
Yep.
Like they're so perfect.
Yep.
They almost look fake. And so you're individually picking every single one of them for their own spot.
Yeah. So now I want you to think about all the antlers hanging in your house, cut them all off, put them in a pile, and make a chandelier out of it. Are you going to get that symmetry? You're not. You're not. You're not. So I don't mind using people's antler, and like I like doing projects for, like I got a gentleman that's I'm working with right now that we're gonna do one for his dad passed away, and it was all his dad's antlers. And so that's a great project. You know, let me build the bottom to it. Let me put yours in the top, and you know, commission me to build you something rad. And the antler chandelier game is a pretty good niche, man. There's not a lot of people that do it. So
good for you.
Yeah, but
what a way to turn something that was therapy that you didn't even realize at first into a growing, very successful business. And now that you have employees and you're building out a shop, you're scaling everything. I mean, what a success story that is. And that's pretty awesome.
I appreciate that,
Good
man.
for you, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've worked hard at it, man. But, you know, I'd say the one thing that I can tell people is, you know, find a hobby, man. Yours, it doesn't always have to pay, but if it pays for itself, you're doing something and you're keeping your mind busy, right?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be golf, woodwork, do something.
Anything.
Sell them and rebuy your materials.
Yeah, I have a buddy.
That's how this started.
I got a buddy that he smokes briskets for people.
Oh, dude.
He loves barbecuing, and then you can place an order, and he'll do the whole Brit and just drop it off at your house. It's all
I can
done.
guarantee he's paying his whole grocery bill with the briskets that he's selling. You know, something that he loves.
I think that's the problem, the mindset with a lot of veterans. They feel like everything has to be this extravagant, big. Because, you know, you look at social now and you're on, it's like everybody's got a successful business. Yeah. Nobody sees the days where you're screwing everything up and putting holes in the wrong spots. And, you know, there's the years of struggle to get to where now you're building out 100+ foot railings for giant log cabins that are the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Yeah. It's so I think where a lot of veterans, what they need to do is just jump, just whatever you find. It sucks turning a hobby into a job because it could take away the fun, but if it's lucrative enough and you're distracted long enough and you love it, run with it. But
I love it, man.
Even if it's just tying flies, figure something out to get your mind busy. You're not rotting, you're not stagnant, and it's just you're thinking, you're working, your hands. I mean, it's all those little things that I think help guys get back on track, but it's the stagnant is where the biggest problem is.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree. And you know, like part of the antler game is not just building, it's buying and selling and dealing with clients. It's doing the back end book work. It's like, dude, that's just keeping me occupied. You know, that's literally what it's doing. So it's not always the pretty side of, you know, the building and create and showing it off. Right. Nope. And I put these videos on my Instagram. It's custom antler designs on Instagram, but I put these things on there and I put them on these videos and I put music to them, dude. It's rad. I got this good view off my back porch. And so it turns out pretty cool. I didn't know that it was a marketing campaign, but apparently I'm a good marketer.
Well, yeah, your house is up on a hill, so it's a beautiful backdrop, and then you got this giant chandelier or I guess
whatever it is,
spinning right there, and how you hang them. Yeah, you're crushing it, man. It's pretty badass. Like to be able to see it. I love a success story with vets because I feel we hear more negative. There's more failures in the veteran community than guys like yourself that are out there grinding it out, man.
I'm grinding, man. So my other job, I have this career in wildfire. Wildfire mitigation. So I'll give you the short version. Basically, I fought fire in college, didn't have any job skills, got a job with the state, worked for the state for 10 years doing private lands forestry, running inmate crews, doing hand crew work, doing wildfire.
Oh shit.
You know, all the wildfire action, and like guys that are into wildfire that are listening to this, like probably really like wildfire or really like the OT. I don't like either. Now, it's not that I don't like money, but I have an antler business, so I'm supplementing my income that way. But the actual wildfire thing, man, it reminded me of the Marine Corps. It reminded me of like being in Iraq, just a shitty place, you know. Like I don't mind being outside all the time, but on the same note, like being next to a hot fire digging line for 10 hours does not seem like something I want to put on my calendar for next week. You know what I mean?
I think wildland guys don't get enough credit. They're
ham, man.
I want more wildland firefighters. I want to have a couple on the show because they're a special breed. And the Marines that I have known that used to be wildlands firefighters, it's almost the perfect transition to go from college fighting wildfires and then transitioning to the military. It's just listening to them talk, like the living conditions, the work tempo, the hazards that they're in all day, every day, breaking their back, carrying hose up mountain. I mean, and you hear it, you're like, Jesus Christ, like this is brutal. And so, it's a crazy environment.
Dude, dumping big snags, burning, man, that was my thing, dude.
What's that?
Like dumping big trees with chainsaw.
Okay.
So I was in the state, they call it a B certifier, but they never went to the extreme side with the state. They were very reluctant to give those certifications out, I think for just liability purposes. But I used to dump some crazy stuff, just crazy burning stuff. They'd be like, "Hey, call Jeffries," and I'd be getting off on it. That was the one thing that really probably pumped my adrenaline. Getting under this big burning tree and having to put it right where it needed to go while everybody was watching, or what maybe they weren't.
That's a
watching.
Rush dropping a big tree
and these things are on fire, all cat faced out, all burned out.
Really?
So, yeah. Yeah, and I follow some fellers online that are guys that I used to work with and stuff, and it's a riot. I know what their adrenaline's going like. You know what I mean? So
do you have any close calls with trees coming back on you or limbs?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Burning trees, man, that's a dangerous game. It's probably one of the most dangerous. Fire and wildfire and burning trees is a very dangerous game.
Oh,
seriously.
I'll be honest. I'm surprised we don't hear more about more guys getting killed out there. Maybe they are, and they just don't put it out to the public. But that is
I think they're very well prepared.
Crazy ass job.
Yeah, no, they do, man. I think you should pull up someone on a shot crew or something that's just running and gunning all summer long, dude.
Yeah.
And just from the most extreme environment to the most extreme environment all summer. That's what they do.
Just bang.
Yeah, and you can find some vet that does it, so easy.
Yeah.
I could help you connect, but
yeah, I'd like to.
So then that led me into the city job. So I work for the city. I'm the manager. I'm the wildland resource planner for the Spokane Fire Department. So I basically help the city manage for wildfire fuels.
Okay.
And I write grants for fuels projects.
When you speak of fuels, you're talking fuel for fires?
Yeah. So like wildfire forest health, if you think about it this way. So basically what we do is we go in and we thin the forest.
Okay.
We thin the small stuff out. So 8 inches and under. We prune the trees up and we dispose of the slash by chipping or masticating.
Got it.
We are not doing prescribed fire where I'm at because the county that I live in is very wildland urban interface, houses everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wouldn't work.
Got it.
And so we're doing this mechanical treatment. And so like I got there about 4.5 years ago. In the last 32 months, we've done 16 or 1,700 acres of treatments. We're crushing it. We're crushing it, dude.
Okay. So this isn't like California where nothing's happening. So you guys are actually.
I think that there's work happening. I think that the scale is just not relative to what the wildfire problem is.
Okay.
So no matter where we go, like here in Boise, they have a fuel specialist and I guarantee they're out doing work, but are they capturing, are we getting ahead of the problem? Like in Spokane County, we're not. I'm also the chair of the Spokane County Wildfire Mitigation Coalition that we stood up here a year and a half ago. And our goal is to do more fuels work in the county. And I think it's important. I'm passionate about it. I think that we are extreme risk in the county for wildfire. Dude, we've had some ripping fires this year, but man, 2 years ago, we lost 20,000 acres and over 600 primary residences and a couple lives.
Damn,
in our county, man. And so for me, I'm at this point where I got this great career and these people that are working with me on my time off and my other business. And then I have this Antler business and I'm like, which direction do I go? And for now, I'm just going to do both, which is crazy, but
for sure, I'm
just going to hustle. I'm just going to hustle and do what I have to do where I have to do it until somebody makes me make a decision. But we wrote a grant and we were successful in that in 22. We're going to write another grant this year. We wrote another grant. We're waiting on the results for $5.4 million this year. So
and what would you do with that $5 million?
Fuels work. So we'd basically do more thinning projects within the city. and make Spokane safer. And like I said, I think that there's work happening. I think it's less than where we're going to be to catch the par. So we're behind the curve, right? We've suppressed fire. We've done a damn good job suppressing fire. We got these unmanaged forests that have been high graded and logged, and just a lot of unmanaged forests. And then the Forest Service goes to do a logging operation and they get sued in 9 different directions. So they maybe stand up one of their 5 timber harvests that they have lined up for the fall. Well, that is reducing our ability to get work done, right? Long term, longevity and the whole big picture.
Okay.
And so, I won't get into anything politics wise, but the reality is we need to do more treatments, logging, fuels treatments, burning, prescribed fire, all these things in the Western U.S. if we're going to catch up to the curve. And like wildfire smoke, dude, I don't know how it affect your hunting, but man, it's really screwed up some of my hunts.
Oh, year after year.
Year after year, man, and it's not getting any better. From Oregon to burning to Washington burning to Idaho
It all
burning.
comes here. All the smoke comes here.
The Canada on fire, smoke coming here, California on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is, to get it in check, we need strong individuals that are willing to go out and, do prevention work and really work on the back end of the suppression side, because the suppression side, they do a great job.
Okay.
They put out these fires well. It's an expensive task, but they put them out well, and they've done that great for 100 years. But if we do more on the prevention side, I think we can make a difference.
Do they use a lot of inmates?
Yeah. So
this work.
So yeah, in the county that I live, we have a 10-man crews, inmate crews. That's actually how I started with the state. I used to run those crews.
How was that?
It was badass.
Are those guys pretty open for it? I mean, because they get some freedom. I mean, you're not having problems,
free food.
right?
They get free food. We buy them food every night.
Really?
Yeah. It's a horrible, man. It's like anybody that works with offenders. Like it's a task in itself to work with offenders. Then you got to teach them how to fight fire. Then you got the stress of taking these guys out. We didn't have guns. Like we were just civilians.
But I mean, at this point, if they have the privilege of being let free on a work program, I mean, obviously they're probably not a high threat.
They
I would
be.
guess. Okay.
They could be. They could be on their last 4 years.
Okay.
That was the catch. So they could be in for murder 2 and be in for 20 years, but still be out on a wildfire because they're in their last 4 years.
Okay.
So it's not that their crimes were less. It's just the time of the period that they were in before they got out.
Okay.
It is a great program, and I truly believe that it helps recidivism and the ability or the inability to go back to prison. And it's a great program, and we get a lot of shit done for very cheap.
Yeah.
Now they're getting minimum wage in Washington. Now they're getting minimum wage on wildfire, and they're getting $2 an hour off of fire season. They were getting 63 cents when I worked there 10 years ago.
Do you agree with the money that they're making now?
If it goes to a good cause, a lot of it's getting paid back to the court systems and child supports and different things because it gets put in the system. And then if you have money in the system, then they take it, right?
Okay.
So it's not all just going to an offender that's going to go out and blow it on stuff. So yes and no. I think that we spend a lot of money on wildfire, and I think we should spend a lot of money on prevention.
Well, I mean, imagine if they grew those programs, because that's one of my biggest questions. It's like, I remember when I was young, you'd see inmates. I mean, it was a big thing. I don't even know how much they're doing it in California anymore, but it's like, if we truly cared about rehabilitating men and women to get them out of the system, that those are the type of jobs that it should be not strictly, but the majority of those numbers should be coming from the inmates that want the opportunity to learn and then they could get out and then they get hired on.
They do. And they totally do. I had guys get out, and like, I still know, I know of a couple that I worked with at that program that are out in the civilian world doing okay.
Yeah.
A couple, but
yeah, but I mean, it gives them the opportunity instead of, oh, hey, you've been locked up for 15 years, have a nice life.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, you got a couple years left. Here's this program. Do you want to learn a skill? Up to the inmate, obviously, and if they want to continue it, but it gives them an opportunity. But I feel with how bad our forests are here, but especially the West Coast, like, Oregon, California, Washington, obviously, it's like, man, put their asses to work.
Man, we could do so much fields work. Like, what did they call that back in the day? The Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC. They used to bring work camps in and do all this stuff back during the recession.
Yeah.
Or during the Great Depression.
Okay.
I don't know all the history. I'm not a history buff, but basically like if we came together and had these crews of young individuals or incarcerated individuals and actually did some fuels work and did some serious prevention work, I think we could, it's not getting any better, man.
No.
Listen, we've had, by definition, in the county that I live in, we've had 10 of the worst fire seasons in the last, or 5 of the worst fire seasons in the last 15 years. 5 or 10 of them, man. It's unbelievable. Like these fires are just ripping. Like we got a 500 acre going right now, or an 800 acre right out in an area that I used to do fuels treatments in, and it's in the county, burning up houses and just scary stuff, man.
Yeah, it is. I think I don't understand. I don't know who thought it was a great idea to end those programs, and 'cause you're not helping anybody. At the end of the day, you're making it worse out in the forest. You have the ability to have bus loads of these inmates putting their ass to work. I don't care if they're on a chain gang. You put an axe in their hand, tie them all together, and they're digging.
I don't know that would work so good these days. I don't know that.
Right.
I don't know if we could sneak by with that one.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you had these guys putting in trenches. They're putting in breaks. It's like, put their asses to work. I support.
No, I agree. I agree. Sitting in a cell rotting out is not going to solve anybody's problem.
Worrying about what play you got next going on in prison. And okay, how am I just surviving here? Or it's like, hey, come learn a skill.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of the vets that are listening, man, you've been through hell. Through you did the initial push through Fallujah. You went back to Fallujah. You've gotten out. You've got a great job. You started a side business, which is exploding right now, which I feel your main job's not going to be around much longer once.
I'm going to try.
Once the fire catches.
We'll see.
And I hope that's the plan. I mean, either way, you're living life.
Yeah.
What would be advice to the veteran community that's out there right now that are era vets?
Go get the help, because you're not going to do anything if you don't have the help. Like if you can't function, like I started a deal a while back, but the sole purpose was to find purpose in the guys sitting down listening. Okay. And like on this platform right now, if you're sitting down listening, go get the help. Go to a veteran center, find a veteran center, go to the VA, get your service connection. Listen, they'll pay you for your disabilities, and that will help life be a little easier. Okay. And that'll give you a little less anxiety or depression.
Nope.
And then you go to the VA and maybe you get some meds, and the first med dose probably isn't going to work very well. And the second dose might not work well either, but the third dose might be the one that's going to make you feel better.
So pay attention.
Exercise, get outside. Exercise, get outside. Exercise, get outside. Listen, do not sit on yourself. I don't formally go to a gym as much as I'd like to, but I hunt excessively and I fish excessively. I've been all over, and I just get the blessing to be able to do that. But if you get out in the outside in nature, like that is therapy in itself, man. Like I don't know anybody who has a bad day when they go out to nature, whether they're hunting, whether they're fishing, whether they're sitting on by a lake. Like there's no bad day out there.
It's healing.
It's healing. Yeah. 100%. And the last thing I'd say is just stay busy, man. You're the only one that's going to be able to motivate yourself. I can't motivate you. Your spouse isn't going to be able to motivate you. You got to make that decision and make that strong decision that you go ahead and move forward and do those things that are going to be hard, man. There's going to be shitty feelings, and I feel great today, but who knows? I was thinking about it actually as we were finishing discussing a lot of the military stuff, but like flying home today, I'm probably going to be anxious as hell, man, because I haven't talked about any of that stuff in a long time. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? That's me working through some of that. Sure. And that's me, I feel like this podcast is important because I can talk and hit an audience that I haven't in the past with my veteran story of like, you can be successful, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you found faith in any of this?
Yeah. So funny that you say that. So, the Marine Corps, I felt like it was a big blur, but it's like kill everything. God isn't helping, like the things you see in war, like God can't be part of that, or that's the understanding that you might have. Why would God
let this happen?
Why would God let this happen? No, that'd be the statement I'd say.
Yep.
And so I had a really hard time with it. And, as times progressed, I felt like God has become a way bigger part of my life.
How?
I don't go preaching to people, but I would tell you this. I would tell you that God has a plan, and if you step up and participate in that plan, if you don't participate, nothing's going to happen for you. But if you participate, things are going to start to go your way. And the more positive that you put into the world, the more positive you're going to get back. They call it karma, but honestly, that's not karma. It's God making a plan for you.
Blessings.
It's blessings in your life and blessings in others around you. Not everything is going to be perfect, and not everybody's perfect. I'm no perfect example, man. Just because I've survived, it doesn't mean I haven't put my wife and kids through hell, through the stuff that we went through over the years. But the reality is I'm here to talk about it today. So that's the difference, right?
Mm-hmm. I see you get pretty emotional with things. What comes back to you?
Well, I think that just the heartache of, everything that I've been through. I think that I haven't talked about a lot of that stuff in a long time, but, like helping veterans is probably my number one thing in life. Yeah. Over hunting, over work, over family, like all of it. Like I just feel so much for other veterans because I know I've been there. Mm-hmm. And it's just so hard to change, man. So hard to make decisions and so hard to go forward with stuff. Those vet centers are very non-VA oriented.
Okay.
So if like, I feel like a lot of vets are like, I don't want to deal with the VA. Well, the vet center is paid for by the VA, but they're very, it's very buddy to buddy.
Where are vet centers?
They're all over. Okay. Google them, veteran centers. And the whole thing is they have mobile ones too. And maybe you're not in an area that has one. But there's resources there that can still help you.
So just search VA vet centers.
VA vet centers, yeah.
Okay.
And they're spread out all over. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I appreciate this conversation, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I appreciate your vulnerability and sharing some wild ass stories. I feel most people don't have a clue what went on in Fallujah. And yeah. I'm not a Fallujah Marine. I mean this in the most respectful way. I'm glad I'm not a Fallujah Marine because I know a lot of dudes that are, and there's a lot of problems that came from there, and I'm glad that you were on the successful side. I don't know if you see it.
I appreciate that.
Talk to a lot of vets, and there's a lot that are not where you're at because they let it get to them, and they let the hate, they let the whatever it is, man, they let it just consume them, and so it's been pretty awesome to be able to talk to you and to see. I know it's not probably always the easiest to have these conversations. I personally feel having these conversations helps a lot because it builds. Even though you're not talking about it, I personally feel it inside of you. It festers and it just smolders. And then eventually it might go from every couple weeks to maybe now it's once a month. And now maybe every 6 months I have my wife calls them attacks, like, and where you just, get on that part again. But guys like you, it's like you're slowly have just built and worked on yourself. And now it might be every few years, but if you don't talk about it and you don't communicate it, it's still there. It's never going to go away. We just have to face that. That's the dotted line that we signed. And so that's what our whole generation has to deal with now is, guys going through Fallujah. And so I'm super proud of you, bro. It's pretty, I know we just met, but it's pretty cool. I love successful veteran stories. There's nothing to me that's greater than vets helping vets being successful. That's why I always, and whenever I hear a vet's got their own thing going on, I want to give them the platform to be able to just come and talk, because to me, that's the ultimate success story to me, is watching these guys as children going to war. And then the Marine Corps or the military goes, have a nice life, and throws you out into society, and all you've known is killing and hate and discontent and drinking and partying and sex and whatever else we were chasing as young boots and run around Oceanside. That's just how your life becomes. And so for you to transition out and to have these conversations and to build what you've built, proud of you, dude. I'm proud of any vet that has these stories. Like it means a lot that you come on here and share this with us. So
thank you.
As soon as she jumps out of the bathroom, I want to get a shot. I want to shout out the lamp. Hurry up, kid. It's right when you go to the bathroom. I'm going to grab the lamp so you can see it. So everybody's seeing the work that you do. I'm going to throw this into the shot. We got our new lamp for the podcast. I don't know if we're going to get it all in the camera, but so this is the work that you do, man. Is that all in there, kid, or no?
Kind of. I'm gonna do the middle camera.
Right here? Oh, yeah. So you throw the middle camera. This thing is absolutely beautiful. It's made out of real birch. You have a woman that goes out there and harvests this and then sews it together with sinew, right? Am I on mic? You got me? Yeah, and then you have the most beautiful antlers, and this is your creation, man. Like, who would have thought from Fallujah
to antler lights,
to the antler lights, and building the most beautiful chandeliers that you've ever seen in your life, and to something I don't want to say as simple as this, because there's no fucking way I'd ever be able to build this, but good for you, dude.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy it.
Dude, thank you. I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate your time, and this was rad. This is exactly why we do this, so appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
That's it.